All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to tonight's edition of another live commentary stream on the channel. Our big motorsports weekend will begin with the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series North Carolina Education Lottery 200 at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. We've got 3 NASCAR races at Charlotte this weekend. We've got the Truck Series race here tonight. We've got the Xfinity race tomorrow afternoon, and then we have the doubleheader. Yes, I'm pulling the Indy Coke 600 doubleheader this weekend with the live commentary streams. Sunday afternoon at 12:30 Eastern Standard Time, we will go live for commentary of the first ever IndyCar race on the channel with the 107th running of the Indianapolis 500. And then later that evening at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the NASCAR Cup Series live commentary stream. Actually, that'll begin at 5:30 for our pre-race coverage because it's another Cup Series race. So we'll go live early for that one, get our predictions out of the way, and we will go and try to get the double in. Hopefully my laptop makes it through that day. We've been having some issues with it off and on again over about the last month, so hopefully we don't have any issues this weekend. I think I'll be fine tonight, tomorrow with the shorter races, but going back-to-back with the 500 and then the longest race of the year right after that. We'll see what will come about it. But thanks for everybody tuning in here this evening. This is the next NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race of the season. We are closing in to the end of the regular season for the NASCAR Truck Series, and we will take a look at the point standings coming into tonight's race. I meant to have that up on the screen right away, and I didn't. Let's see here. So Corey Heim comes in with the regular season points lead. He just took his first points lead of the season following last weekend's race at North Wilkesboro Speedway. Zane Smith had the lead going into that race by 7 points. He came out with a 16-point deficit, actually fell from first in the standings back to third, and Ty Majeski, who was third in points, jumped up to second, and Corey Heim is now the points leader. Heim has a 7-point lead in the standings. He does have one win on the year, and that was a rain-shortened win at Martinsville, but he's had a lot of speed this year. 8 top 10s in the 10 races so far this season. 3 top 5s, he has led 236 laps, which is actually the most of any Truck Series regular, and 3 stage wins. So Corey Heim, very consistent, strong start to the year, and he's just 6 races away from locking up that regular season title. So, yes, 6 races to go in the regular season for the Truck Series. Ty Majeski is second in points, as mentioned. He is 7 points behind Corey Heim. Zane Smith is 16 points back now after a net loss of 23 points last week in North Wilkesboro. He has 5 top 5s on the year, but it seems like if he doesn't get a top 5 finish, he hasn't gotten a top 10. So he's finished outside the top 10 in 5 of the first 10 races. Looking for more consistency. He does have 2 wins on the season and is locked into the playoffs. As for Ty Majeski, he is in the playoffs as of right now. He's 112 points above the cutoff line. He should make it on points, but he is without a win still. Grant Enfinger got a win a couple weeks ago at Kansas, his first win of the year, so he's locked into the playoffs. Christian Eckes has 2 wins on the year, as he ended up winning 2 weeks ago, and 3 weeks ago, and he also had a win at Atlanta earlier this season as well. So Christian Eckes has had a lot of speed as of late. The bubble, as of right now, Stuart Friesen has the last spot on points ahead of Matt DiBenedetto. Matt DiBenedetto is 17 points behind, he is 4 points behind Stuart Friesen. Friesen 4 points to the good. Tanner Gray is 8th in the overall standings. He is 21 points to the good. Matt Crafton is plus 38, and Ben Rose is plus 53. All 4 of those drivers are within 1 race worth of points ahead of DiBenedetto, so it's a very tight race. Nick Sanchez, the rookie, is 16 points below the cutoff line and 12th in the standings. Chase Purdy minus 32, and Jake Garcia, who has ran 1 less race than everybody else in the point standings ahead of him. He missed the season opener at Daytona. He's only 45 points to the negative, so we'll see if Jake Garcia can make a run here. He's had a crazy stretch of races in his first 9 career truck starts, but as far as tonight goes, also Carson Hocevar has a win this year. He's outside the top 10 in points, but he is locked in with that win at Texas. So, going into today's race, we will keep an eye on the points battle there. As for the starting lineup for today's race, we will get through that here in a matter of moments. So let me pull up the raw feed, and we will get the starting lineup walkthrough. Gotta find it. There we go. They did have practice and qualifying earlier this afternoon for both the truck and the Xfinity Series. Cup practice and qualifying is actually tomorrow night at about 7 p.m. well after the Xfinity Series race, which will be live at noon Eastern Standard Time. No inclement weather on hands. We should get all 200 miles and 134 laps of today's race under the full regulation length, maybe even more than that if we go to overtime. We did have an overtime finish in last week's truck race at North Wilkesboro, where Kyle Larson won in his first start in the truck series last season in the Spire Motorsports number 7 truck. Tanner Gray will be on the pole for today's race, still looking for his first career truck win. And Ty Majeski, who we mentioned, the highest driver in the point standings without a win, will start on the outside of the front row in second. Points leader Corey Heim on the inside of row 2, and Roger Carruth, who's had a lot of speed in the last couple of races, will be on the outside of him in row number 2. Stuart Friesen and Christian Eckes will be in row 3. Eckes, two-time winner this year. Friesen's still looking for his first win. He is only 4 points above the cutoff line coming into the playoffs today. Dean Thompson, who's had a lot of speed in the mile and a half, will look out for him as a potential underdog to have a good finish. And Bailey Curry with a great qualifying effort in the Nice Motorsports Chevrolet number 41 truck that Ross Chastain has driven a lot to this point this season. Bailey Curry going to make his first start for Nice Motorsports today. David Gilliland is back in the truck series, driving the number 1 for his own race team in the Toyota. He will be in the 9th place starting position, with Jack Wood running part-time in the 51 for KBM to his outside in row 5. In row 6 will be Grant Enfinger and Carson Hocevar, each with 1 win on the season, looking for a second. Both had their wins on mile and a halves, Enfinger at Kansas and Hocevar at Texas. In row number 7 will be Chase Purdy and defending series champion Zane Smith. Smith with 2 wins on the year, but has struggled in the last 3 races, has finished outside the top 20, in fact, in those last 3. Jake Garcia and Lawless Allen will be in row number 8 in this one of the better starting positions for Allen this year. And Garcia, a bright spot in the Truck Series field at 18 years of age, still trying to qualify for his first playoffs in his rookie season. Taylor Gray and Daniel Dye will be behind those guys in row number 9, a couple more rookies behind them. And then Ben Rhodes, former champion, as well as Matt DiBenedetto, will be back in row number 10. DiBenedetto is the first driver below the cutoff line, again, -4 on Friesen, and Ben Rhodes plus 53, but still looking for his first win of the year. Haley Deegan will be on the inside of row 11, with Colby Howard to her outside. Chris Wright and Matt Crafton back in row 12. Crafton's still looking for his first win of the year as well, but is sitting fairly comfortably above the cutoff line. In fact, Thorsport Racing has not won a single race this season. Spencer Boyd and Brett Holmes will be in row 13 for this one. Row 14 will be Josh Rayum and Matt Mills. Tyler Hill and Armani Williams will be in row 15. Row 16 will be Mason Maggio and Justin Carroll. In row number 17 will be Keith McGee and Nick Sanchez starting deep in the field today in that number 2 truck. And then Tyler Ankrum and Ryan Vargas will round out the 36 truck field in row 18 for tonight's race. FS1 under the commercial break. If you're wondering where you can watch the race this weekend, Fox Sports 1 for the truck and the Xfinity Series races. The main Cup race will be on your local Fox affiliate this afternoon, and your local NBC affiliate for the Indy 500 on Sunday. It'll be the last race on the Big Fox this weekend as well for the NASCAR Cup Series. I do think there's another truck race on Big Fox before the end of the year, and I think one of the Xfinity races before NBC takes over is yet to be on Big Fox as well. They've had a couple of them. I think the Darlington Xfinity race was on Big Fox a couple weeks ago, and then last week's North Wilkesboro race was on Big Fox for the Truck Series. But not the Cup, which is weird. I know they usually have the All-Star race on FS1, but I would have thought going back to North Wilkesboro, that was a race they had to have on Big Fox, and they didn't have it. Greg Powers, Jeff Curry, Danny Haley, Terry Lewis, Mark Witkowski, Bobby Kilmus. Let's see who else is in the chat. Araldo Custodio. And Doran Davis, thanks for tuning in. We've got over 50 people watching already. We still have not yet gone green. We'll go trackside for the command.
Has been the name of the game. Will the trend continue tonight? Well, with a guy on the pole that's not only never won, he had never started up front before today. I'd say there's a really good shot for another new winner tonight. Time to fire the engines. Let's go trackside.
And now, race fans, here to say the most famous words in motorsports. Please welcome North Carolina Education Lottery Lucky Rewards winner, Mike Beach. Drivers, start your engines!
First of 4 live commentary streams for the race weekend coming up. In the Fox booth tonight will be Adam Alexander for, I think, his third or fourth truck race. Usually Jamie Little's in the commentary booth, but not this weekend for the truck series. Adam Alexander will be taking over duties, and I think that is because tomorrow's Xfinity race will be an all drivers only broadcast, so I think he'll have off for the Xfinity race tomorrow, so that's why Adam is in the booth today for the truck series field. But we'll have some pre-race stories from the pit reporters, and you guys will get to listen into that here before the start of the race.
Man, it must feel so good. Charlotte Motor
Talking to Tanner Gray as well right now.
Nothing out that windshield, but racetrack ahead. How do you feeling about your truck in the long run to go racing tonight?
Yeah, it's obviously really cool to get a pole here at Charlotte. Everybody from Tricon's been working really hard, so obviously really excited about that. Kind of a long race to go tonight, so just gotta focus and execute and try to do all we can do to stay out front. But not really sure what to expect on the long run. We didn't get to make a ton of laps in practice. Had a little bit of an engine issue, but I know Jeremy Donnelly and everybody on the 15 team's done a good job making adjustments to get us dialed in.
Well, it's going to be a great race. I know that. It's always special at Charlotte. And your team owner, David Gillen, he's out there with you. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, it's really cool to have him run in. He hasn't run in a couple of years, and last time we raced together, he didn't get to finish. So it's awesome to have him come back and run some races. And, we're always going to him throughout the week and kind of bouncing ideas off him. So we'll see if he can practice what he preaches.
All right, buddy. We'll let you go. Have a great race. It's a great weekend. A weekend to remember.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
When you look at the winners here, it's a who's who. If Tanner could get on that list tonight, it would be huge. You've heard from Michael, Phil, and me. Now time to say hello to our pit reporters, Amanda Busick, Jamie Howe. Good evening, ladies.
Good evening, Adam. I'm going to talk about Corey Heim. He is on a streak he has no experience with. That is 4 consecutive top 10 finishes, and he's now the regular season point leader. But when he got out of the truck after qualifying, there was a visible sigh of relief. He said that there is nowhere on the schedule that stresses him out like here at Charlotte. He raced here twice in ARCA, and despite being the runner-up finish in both, he said getting there was a challenge. This is his first time here behind the wheel of this truck. Now that he knows that he has speed, he's starting third. He said, I can just relax. I can breathe. All I have to do now is go out and race. Amanda? There have been 8 different winners so far this season already, and when I asked Stuart Friesen if he could be number 9, he simply said, why not? And when you look at Stewart's recent visits to Charlotte, in the last 5 times here, he's finished in the top 10 4 times with a 3rd place finish in 2019. But go back to qualifying, Stewart had a little brush with the wall, only a little minor body damage there. He will start 5th on track. So guys, why not? Can Stewart be number 9 here tonight?
Heck yeah. I guarantee you can. He knows how to hang it out. That's what you have to do here at Charlottesville. These guys are going to be right out next to the fence, down on the apron, racing all over this track.
If Friesen makes the playoffs, no doubt the turning point is going to be Kansas. Made some changes within that organization, as we've talked about. Amanda talked about where they've been recently, and now here they are in a position to go out, get it done, move themselves into the postseason.
I talked about this track and how crazy it is. Let's look at the Craftsman track description here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Sounds pretty benign, right? 1.5 miles, 24 degrees of banking in the turns. Far from it. A lot of character on this racetrack. We talked about that last week at North Wilkesboro. You're going to have the same thing here. Trucks bouncing all over this racetrack. The exit of turn 4 really tightens up on these guys. Stewart found that out in qualifying when he got against the wall. So we're going to see a little bit of everything tonight, Adam.
Let's take a look at our race analysis. You see this race is 134 laps, 200 miles. Our stages are 30-30, and the final stage 74 laps. These teams will have 3 sets of tires laying on pit road for their use. You see our pit window somewhere between 50 and 55 laps, which means we will have a pit stop in that final stage.
Could there be some strategy around that pit stop when you go get those tires? Because we saw a lot of fall off in that practice session as the tires wore, speed slowed down.
Let's check out those onboard cameras we've got for tonight, Michael. Let's hop on Ben Rose, number 99.
So once again, you heard right there, the stage splits for tonight's race will be 30, 30, and 74 to make up the full 134 laps. No pit stops are required in the first 2 stages, per usual for the truck series, especially 1.5 miles. But as far as the final stage goes, they will have to make 1 stop for fuel at some point in time. We saw the final stage of the Kansas race go caution-free, where they had to make green flag pit stops. We'll see if that will be the same for tonight's truck race at Charlotte on another 1.5 miles. A lot of 1.5 mile tracks on the Truck Series schedule in the regular season. We'll still have some more intermediates yet to come through the summer months, but yeah, after tonight's race, only 5 races will remain in the regular season for the Truck Series. So that playoff cutoff line, with it being very tight right now, only 5 drivers are above the cutoff line within 1 race worth of points ahead of Matt DiBenedetto, who is only 4 points to the negative. Chase Purdy only 21 points to the negative tonight. Even a driver like Jake Garcia is only about 45 points below. There is still a chance for those guys to point their way in. Not to mention if we get another new winner and somebody locks themselves in that way. We do have 5 different Truck Series regulars with a win so far this season. There are a couple Cup guys that have won truck races as well. We mentioned Kyle Larson won last weekend at North Wilkesboro Speedway. Joey Logano won the Dirt Bristol race, and then Kyle Busch won at his home track in Las Vegas earlier this season as well. So hopefully all will go well. And I think we're going to have a lot of fun here tonight. This was one of the better Truck Series races last season, I thought. They did have a situation where there was a scary crash involving Johnny Sauter and Dean Thompson. I think it was Dean Thompson, but where Sauter's truck was sitting backwards, parked against the outside wall. Nobody threw the caution. I should say NASCAR didn't throw the caution. It was very late. He made severe contact. It was a nasty collision. But outside of that one bad call from NASCAR, though, incident-wise, the racing itself was very, very good in the Truck Series. And I thought that that was one of the better races of the weekend, even with an instant classic of a Coke 600 that we ended up seeing just a couple nights later. We had a crazy 4-wide overtime restart as well, which sent it down to the wire. It did go a couple overtimes, which got sloppy when Carson Hocevar crashed into Ryan Preece when they were going for the win in the first overtime finish. But the finish of the second and final overtime restart, though, was very, very entertaining, and it was wild, to say the least. Surprised they made it through that one, and hopefully we see a lot of wild racing again here today. Wild, but clean and tame. That's my favorite, and you can beat and bang a little bit as long as, obviously, they're able to keep the fenders on it, keep control of the race trucks. It should be a lot of fun. T-Van, Catch a Will, DVD Hunter, and Sports Fan, thanks for tuning into the stream here recently as well. And I don't think I've seen anybody else new join the stream that I haven't yet shouted out, but we do have just over 70 people watching. Our goal tonight should be in a couple minutes here. I think they're running a little bit behind schedule, but the airtime I think runs till 10:30 tonight, so we'll probably be live up until about that time. Should be, at least. Let me know if there's a lag on the stream, by the way. I think we're okay. But comment in the chat if the stream is lagging pretty consistently. I could try to fix that here before the race starts. Want to be able to give you guys the clearest commentary possible, and hopefully there's no interruptions. The field has gotten the 1 to go signal, so they will be going green this time by.
Ken Squire to call the World 600. 40 years later, NASCAR Xfinity wins, Cup wins, and Phil is still kicking. And the best thing about Phil, I think, is the fact that you put up with me every week. You deserve an attaboy just for that. But what a career. Congratulations. That's a beautiful picture.
I appreciate that. I'm surprised we had color back then. It was so long ago.
I just can't believe if we did a side-by-side of that night and tonight, your hair is still golden and looking good. You know that?
Thank you.
You've got the information. You do your homework. You're down in the garage. You're a real asset to this team. We
I appreciate that, buddy. Glad to be here.
40 years. How about that? How many years doing the Truck Series?
Since 2001, full time.
How about that?
I
joined in 07?
Full time. Probably before that, I would think.
Yeah. So we've been around a while.
Yeah, 15, 16, 17 years.
And we had a great week this week. We got to hang out with a bunch of the truck drivers down the road here and had lunch and enjoyed sharing stories with those guys. This is a fun camaraderie.
Delbert Wilson and Evan Stevens also welcome into the stream. Joshua Brady, thanks for tuning in tonight. Just over 70 people still watching, and again, they will be going green this time. The field has worked their way into turns 3 and 4 on the pace lap. Everything's good so far. All right. I'll be looking at the chat infrequently. You guys will probably see it on the laptop, and that is because I'm having to watch the race on my phone as of right now. Hopefully all will be set and ready to go for next weekend's races, that I don't have to do commentary in the main room of my new apartment room. So as far as tonight goes, it should be a lot of fun. Packed crowd on hand at the Charlotte Motor Speedway for the truck race. Second straight week we've seen a lot of fans in the stands for the truck race. Can't wait for this one. It's about to begin as the field heads into the Geico restart zone, and Tanner Gray, who is on the pole for the first time in his truck career, will lead him to the green, and we are racing on a Friday night in the NASCAR Truck Series. Down into turns 1 and 2, Corey Heim will push the 15 truck clear, as well as Heim himself will clear Ty Majeski for second. Nearly almost contact off the exit of turn 2 as Majeski's going to get to the outside as he hung on the right rear corner panel of Heim. 3 wide behind those guys as Roger Caruth is going to pull clear of a couple trucks. Dean Thompson on the bottom. The 52 of Stuart Friesen in the middle makes contact slightly with the 19 of Christian Eckes. Still 3 wide as they work their way off turn 4. Lap 1 in the books, and Tanner Gray will lead the first lap of the race. And now the 1 truck of David Gillen trying to make a move on the 5 of Dean Thompson. A lot of racing in the back half of the top 10 right now as they work their way into 1 and 2. Still 2 and 3 wide. Thompson side by side with Eckes at the front of the pack. The top 4 trucks ahead of him have pulled away as the battle for 5th continues on. Roger Caruth's got a big run on the 98 and the 11 that have stayed side by side for the entirety of these first lap and a half, almost 2 laps of the race now, as Majeski will hang on the outside of the 11 truck again off turn 4. Gray has, because of that, opened up his lead to about a half a second at the start-finish line, and Tanner Gray will lead the first 2 laps of the race. We've got a truck smoking at the back of the field. Heavy sparks falling out of the back of the 46 of Williams, but I do believe we will stay green. So Armani Williams off the pace trying to get to pit road, but we'll see if we stay green. The 11 truck of Corey Heim has a massive run in that middle lane, trying to work his way closer to the 15 as he finally was able to clear the 98 off the exit of turn 2 in the inside lane before trying to move up into maybe his preferred line for practice and qualifying earlier today. Down to the bottom of the racetrack goes the 11. Side by side for the race lead. But down the back, it looks like the 15 of Gray is going to be able to get his run on the bottom. I should say on the outside lane. He slipped up a little bit in turns 3 and 4, and the 11 of Heim will pull clear and lead his first lap of the race. Heim has led the most laps of any Truck Series driver this season of the truck regulars, and now leads in the early going. Contact for second into turns 1 and 2. The 98 truck is sideways and makes a huge save after almost getting up into the outside wall. And Dean Thompson was able to fly by both himself, both Ty Majeski, who slid up out of the groove after making significant contact there with the 15 truck of Tanner Gray. Did a great job saving it, but Majeski overdrove the entry to the corner, trying to dive bomb underneath Gray. Came nowhere close to clearing him. Gray held him tightly down to the bottom. Good hard racing. Both trucks hang on. Gray remains in second, but he's about 1 second off the race lead from Heim. Looked like the 98 truck might have bottomed out. I don't know if he clipped the apron, but he bottomed out. There were some sparks flying, which shifted the truck up the hill into the 15. Was pretty far sideways, made it a brilliant save, really, before Thompson and Caruth were able to get around him, and Caruth had to check up so much that Dean Thompson was able to make a pass for position as well. Although Caruth back on the attack for third on the 5 truck of Dean Thompson. We'll look down to the inside of the racetrack. Couldn't quite get underneath him that time through turns 1 and 2. Side by side further back between the 42 and the 52 of Hocevar and Friesen as they battle for 8th on track, and Zane Smith in the top 10 already after qualifying just outside the top 15 today. Big loose moment off turn 4 for Stuart Friesen. Was pretty far sideways, and Hocevar's got a run on him now in the front stretch. Thompson now going to make a pass for second place, potentially on the 15 of Gray. Not quite going to be able to complete it. They'll be door-to-door down the back, and Caruth's got a big run off the high side. He's been really rounding the top well through 1 and 2. And Caruth will get to the outside of the 5 of Thompson, who failed to pass Tanner Gray for position, and Roger Caruth will take over third on the sleeping Thompson number 5 truck. Great battle for position going on for second right now as Corey Heim slowly getting away from the field, although that last lap, I do believe that the 15 truck of Gray, who was in second, was only about 0.03 of a second, if that, slower than race leader Corey Heim. Full screen commercial break on FS1 for the first time tonight. Corey Heim is your race leader by 0.8 of a second over Tanner Gray after the completion of 8 laps out of 134 tonight. Tanner Gray is in second place. Roger Cruth is in third place, 1 second off the lead. Dean Thompson's in fourth, 1.2 seconds back. Ty Majeski rounds out the top 5. He is 1.5 seconds off the lead. Sixth place is David Gilliland already, 2.9 seconds back. Christian Eckes is 3.7 seconds back in the 7th place position. 4 seconds off the lead is Carson Hocevar, who is in 8th. Zane Smith in 9th is 4.6 seconds off the lead, and then 4.9 seconds off the lead is Stuart Friesen in 10th. So that is your top 10 through the first 9 completed laps, still caution-free in the first 5 minutes of tonight's Truck Series race at Charlotte, and Corey Heim has led the last 6 laps after Gray led the first 3 from the pole. Heim started in the 3rd place position. And again, 30 laps in this first stage, so we're almost halfway through stage 1 already. This Truck Series race is very, very quick. Last weekend's race at North Wilkesboro, one of the longest Truck Series races of the season. Of course, with it being All-Star Race weekend and the Cup Series at North Wilkesboro as well, we knew that race was going to be, in fact, it was 50 laps shorter than the truck race, and the truck race was obviously fairly short as it is most weekends. Great to see NASCAR back at that famed racetrack. Hopefully they can get the short track package down for these Cup Series cars. But as far as the Truck Series race went, I thought it was a pretty solid race despite the abundance of cautions that we saw throughout the afternoon last Saturday. Godzilla Legendary 2078, thanks for tuning in. Philip Moore, welcome to the stream as well. Thomas Roth, thanks for tuning in. Ethan Chua, welcome to the stream. And I think that is all the newcomers in the chat here since the race started. We're up to 78 people watching right now. 38 likes on the stream. Again, our goal is 100 for tonight's race. Again, thanks for everybody tuning in as always. So Raja Karuth has taken over 2nd place from Thompson during the commercial break, and he is closing in on race leader Corey Heim. Karuth had a lot of speed at Kansas and ended up having a really solid run, maybe a truck that was capable of winning before making a late block in the final stage with about 50 to go on Ty Majeski, which caused a wreck between the two. Both trucks were very, very fast going into the race. My pick for tonight's race was Ty Majeski in the 98, by the way, if you were wondering. So I picked Ty Majeski to win tonight's race and predicted 2 winners correctly in the Truck Series season of the first 10 races. So I've got that 98 truck, and I've got Thor Sport Racing getting the first win of the season. During the commercial break, they showed near contact, it looked like, between Colby Howard and Jack Wood, who are both outside the top 10 right now. And in fact, I think they're battling for 20th on the racetrack. Haley Deegan now in that battle with Howard for the 20th spot. Matt DiBenedetto slid back at the start of the race. He is in 19th now. And Nick Sanchez from the rear of the field, after starting 34th today, is up to 18th. He's the biggest mover so far, as he has picked up 16 positions from the drop of the green flag in the first 14 laps. Matt Crafton also somewhat on the move. He started outside the top 20, and he's picked up 7 spots from 24th to 17th. Matt DiBenedetto has lost almost 10 positions at the start of today's race, and I think he's definitely the biggest loser of the drivers who have dropped back spots from the start. Sanchez going after Crafton now for that 17th place position. He'll make the pass on him going into turns 1 and 2. So Sanchez definitely moving forward. Tyler Ankrum also started in the last row in 35th, and he has only passed about 9 trucks up to the 26th spot. He was running top 10 most of last week. Actually went into that race as the last driver above the cutoff line, but got caught up in a wreck in the final stage, and it has now dropped him below the cutoff line coming into today's race. So looking to make those points back up again. And we're halfway through stage 1 already, so he's got his work cut out for him. Heim still got about a half a second lead over Karuth right now, who was able to get that lead down to about 0.4 of a second, but he stalled out in the dirty air behind Heim once he has gotten about that close that last lap. Karuth was about 1/100th of a second quicker than Heim, so barely quicker that last lap. But definitely has the pace, at least in the early going of the run. Maybe he burnt his tires off a little bit. We heard in the FS1 booth that Michael Waltrip and Phil Parsons were talking about tire fall off in practice session earlier today. I did not catch practice or qualifying for the Truck or Xfinity Series earlier today, so I can't verify that for sure. But if we do see tire fall off in today's race, which we kind of have in the early going of this run, considering Corey Heim, the race leader's fastest lap, was on lap 3. He dropped to 30.177, and I believe that was the fastest lap that anybody has put down today. And that last lap, he just ran a 31.708. So already in the first 18 laps of this race, we've seen about 1.6 seconds of fall off. So tires will matter tonight. So if we get any late cautions, depending on how many trucks may be on the lead lap in the final stage, especially with that being 74 laps and having to get a pit stop in there, it could lay strategy into hands. We're starting to see the Charlotte Motor Speedway take in a considerable amount of tire wear, and I think that's what led into the Coke 600 being so good last year as well, where there was quite a bit of tire fall off. And Charlotte's really starting to come into its own as an intermediate track. Was last repaved back in 2006. They put the grading of the track in for the 05 Coke 600. They ended up having to redo the surface for the following year because of the grading of the track did not work, which led to, in fact, the most cautions in a single NASCAR race in history. And they were like, yeah, this is a little too on edge. Once they got 5 laps into the run, they couldn't hang on. That was on a freshly paved track. As far as this one goes, or at least back in 06, it was last freshly paved. I think they put like sealer or something over the engraving of the racetrack that they did, trying to ground it similar to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And it did not work out. It's a much different racetrack. Of course, 1 mile shorter, a lot more banked, not even symmetrical like Indy is. So I don't know why they thought that could potentially work. But yeah, last repaved in 06, so this is 17 years on the surface, so it is getting older. And it is starting to finally come into its own. There was slight contact on the racetrack there moments ago in a battle between David Gilliland and I think that's Stuart Friesen right behind him as they battle for the 8th place position. Pole sitter Tanner Gray is already falling back to 7th place as he's about 7 seconds off the lead, and we have 9 laps to go in stage 1. A lot of side-by-side battles still going on the racetrack right now. Looks like Christian Eckes and Chase Purdy are side-by-side. And then so is the 41 truck, who's going to make 2 passes in one corner. Great move by Bailey Curry in the 41. Again, making his first start for Nice Motorsports tonight in a truck that Ross Chastain has ran for most of the season. Chastain not in the Truck Series field tonight. He actually won the Charlotte truck race last season, his only truck win of the year. Somebody slowed down on the apron of the racetrack on the backstretch heading into turns 3 and 4, but it looks like we will stay green as that truck will remain out of the way. Hopefully they don't stall out and they can make it onto pit road. As Corey Heim still got about a half a second lead over Carruth right now at the front of the field. Heim has led 19 consecutive laps as we are down to just 7 to go in stage 1. Playoff point will be awarded to the stage winner, of course, and top 10 all receive points. Remember, the Coke 600 this weekend will be an extra stage, 4 stages in that race instead of the usual 3. So that'll be interesting to watch that on Sunday night. But as for the truck and the Xfinity Series, still 3 stages as normal. Ever since the implement of stage racing back in 2017, the Coca-Cola 600 has had 4 stages, so kind of making it its own with the longest race of the year and being a crown jewel, still trying to maybe amplify the crown jewel effect of that race with adding more points to the race than any other points race on the season, both regular season and playoffs. Carson Hocevar has taken over 2nd place. I don't know what happened to Roger Carruth that last lap, but he lost a lot of ground and ended up running about a second slower of a lap than race leader Corey Heim. So Hocevar is up into 2nd now. And it looks like Dean Thompson's going to get around the 24 truck as well. Something is going wrong, it looks like, with the 24 of Roger Carruth, as he seems to be just a little bit slow on the racetrack. He's lost 2 positions in these last couple laps, but it's gone from half a second off the lead to about 2 seconds off the lead, with Thompson making up the 3rd place position. And now Carruth's 2.3 seconds back. It's still falling and is losing points by the wayside here in the closing laps of stage 1, and could be losing potential track position because we will be seeing pit stops during the stage break. Corey Heim still working his way through lap traffic right now, just lapped Tyler Hill in the 56 truck, so we're down to 29 trucks on the lead lap of 4 to go in the stage, and the next lap truck is quite a ways ahead of him. I'm not sure if he's going to catch Mason Maggio or not. Maggio is about 6 seconds ahead of Hill, who just lost his lap. Hocevar is running quicker lap times than race leader Corey Heim. I don't know if he's going to get there or not. He was about 2/10 quicker that last lap as we're down to 4 to go in the stage. It's about 6 miles around this 1.5 mile racetrack in Charlotte, North Carolina. Most of the drivers that qualified in the top 10 still there. Zane Smith is really on the move right now as he is up to 6th place, very quietly having a solid run. And when the field gets bunched back together here with this first stage caution, I think he's going to potentially be able to pounce. I did put a poll up in the chat for who you think will win tonight's NASCAR Truck Series race at Charlotte, and currently other leading the poll at 47%. 49 votes have been casted so far. Zane Smith has 27% of the votes in 6th. Ty Majeski's in the top 5, has 10% of the votes. And Corey Heim, who is your race leader, currently only 16% of the votes. And is the points leader as well. We'll have a lap to go in stage 1 this time by. Carson Hocevar has ran down Corey Heim and is really working that middle groove through turns 3 and 4 that last time, trying to give him a little bit extra straightaway speed. He'll try to stay in the draft down the front stretch as well. 1 lap to go in stage 1. Into turns 1 and 2, Corey Heim still staying down on that double white line on the bottom of the racetrack. Maybe overdrove the entry to the corner. May have clipped the apron just a little bit. He had a slight bobble, and Hocevar's going to have a run from the high side again. Heim's going to go to the bottom, trying to break the draft down the back stretch into turns 3 and 4. Hocevar to the middle lane. Corey Heim down to the bottom, trying to stick the corner, off the exit of the corner. Hocevar's going to win the race back to the throttle, but he's not quite going to be close enough, and Corey Heim will win stage 1 at Charlotte by about a truck length, maybe even less than that, over Carson Hocevar. So Corey Heim will win stage 1 today. It's his 4th stage win of the season. Carson Hocevar will end up in 2nd. Dean Thompson with a great run in 3rd. Roger Carruth fell back to 4th there late in the stage. And Zane Smith sneaks in late, passing Ty Majeski on the final lap for 5th. Ty Majeski ends up finishing in 6th in stage 1. Pole sitter Tanner Gray fell back to 7th. Stuart Friesen in 8th. David Gill in 9th. And Taylor Gray will round out the top 10. So that will be your drivers all receiving stage points. We will have pit stops on the other side of the break. You're listening live to the North Carolina Education Lottery 200 for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series on KRC. So stage 1 in the books. My pick, Ty Majeski, ended up finishing 6th in the first stage. We will keep that poll open until the start of stage 3 tonight. So once the final stage begins, then I will end the poll for who you think will win today's race. But we'll keep that open for now as we have about 50 votes in the poll thus far. And we have about 100 people watching, 43 likes. Almost halfway to our goal of likes, and we're only at the end of this first stage, still about 100 laps to go. And our first pit stops of the day will be coming up, a chance for drivers to make their first adjustments to the race trucks, the teams to hop over the wall, and we will see exactly who will win that race off pit road, get the track position needed, and try to control the field from there. Caution free for incident, as the first stage went by in the blink of an eye, really. Less than 20 minutes, and we're already through the first stage with no cautions for incident. And the 56 truck of Tyler Hill will get the free pass in 30th, so there will be everybody from 31st on back will still be a lap down. And I think there were 2 trucks that pulled off the track with mechanical issues. Keith McGee and then Armani Williams in the opening laps was sparking, maybe had a tire going down. He's 5 laps down, but still in the race. Keith McGee is off the racetrack in the garage. Everybody else still running of the 36 or 35 trucks, I believe, on track. Yeah, Hocevar looking very, very quick on the long run. The problem is he didn't qualify very well. So he started outside the top 10, so that's why it took him so long to get to second, but now he's up there, he's got track position. As long as he doesn't speed on pit road or make any mistakes there, I think he could be a threat for the win. It was very fast at Charlotte last year. He obviously won at Texas, has had a lot of speed on the intermediate tracks this season. I noticed he's kind of lacked on the short tracks this year. Same kind of goes for Zane Smith, I've noticed, in that 38 team. They've been fast. Thor Sport Racing's been fast on the intermediates, but the short tracks is where drivers like Corey Heim have really been able to set themselves apart from the field, and because we do have so many short tracks early in the season for all 3 series, that has really allowed for Heim to take the points lead. Trucks on pit road right now for the first time tonight.
For Zane to make room for number 42. He said that this truck is fun to drive. He doesn't want any adjustments. They're going to make a very minimal air pressure adjustment, top him off with fuel, and then send him for Corey Heim. Very similar story there. Scott Zelli, the crew chief, had to pull the caps off, change that air pressure just a little bit, not going to wait on fuel, beating everybody else off of pit lane, Adam.
Not even close. Corey Heim easily wins the race off pit road by probably 6 truck lengths or more, with a very fast 4-tire stop. Hocevar came off in second behind him. It looked like Dean Thompson lost a few spots on pit road. Drops from about 3rd place back to 5th. Nick Sanchez into the top 10 now for the first time with a very fast stop for the 2 team after he started very deep in the field. He's also worked his way forward, and this extra added track position will only help him. So Corey Heim setting the pace here in the early going of tonight's race. We haven't seen him lead a lot of laps on the intermediate tracks. Remember at Texas a couple mile-and-a-half races ago where Nick Sanchez led all but 7 laps of that race and still did not finish in the top 10 because of having that wreck on the final lap when he ended up making contact on the front stretch going into turn 1 in a side-by-side battle for the race lead at the time. And that's how Carson Hocevar was able to get his last lap pass for the win. That was a big win for Carson Hocevar, and the reason why is because if he did not win that race, he would actually be below the cutoff line in the playoff standings going into tonight's race with just 6 races to go in the regular season. So it was a big win for Hocevar. He's having a good points day so far tonight, receiving 9 points. And remember, every finishing position in the top 10 of the regular season standings will grant you more playoff points. So it's an incentive here for Hocevar to still race for points in the late going into the season as he's on the outside of the top 10 looking in. I believe he's 11th overall in the regular season standings right now. He would be 17 points below the cutoff line if he was still inside, or sorry, if he was without a win still this season. But he has gone to victory lane, as already mentioned, and he is one of only 3 Chevys of the Truck Series regulars to have wins this year. Christian Eckes has 2 of them, and then we saw Grant Enfinger win a couple weeks ago at a mile-and-a-half at Kansas. And Enfinger has not had that much speed in today's mile-and-a-half race, though, at Charlotte, as he was 16th at the end of stage 1. So Enfinger is definitely lacking in the speed department here tonight versus the last intermediate track we were on a little less than a month ago. They should be going green this time by. They're still on the commercial break. On FS1, Adam Alexander, Phil Parsons, and Mike Waltrip in the booth for tonight's race. Happened to Tony B. Is she in the Truck Series? Not tonight. She's only running part-time. She was in that one truck 2 weeks ago at Kansas, I do believe. Was it Kansas or Darlington? I think it was Kansas. It was 3 weeks ago when she made her start. David Gilliland's actually in the one truck tonight. That's been a race truck where we've actually seen a lot of part-time drivers running this year. This is David Gilliland's first truck race of the season, but I think he's like the 4th different driver to make a start for that one team for Tricon Garage this season. So they're showing some speed, though. Obviously, Corey Heim's got a truck capable of potentially winning the championship this year. He may be one of the favorites in the early going of the season. He's leading the points for a reason, and he's leading tonight's race for a reason. Already won stage 1, getting that 4th stage win of the year. He'll be on the inside lane for the restart. Carson Hocevar will be on the outside of him in the front row. Row 2 will be Zane Smith and Tanner Gray. Row 3 is going to be David Gilliland and Dean Thompson. Row 4 behind them will be Stuart Friesen and Taylor Gray with Christian Eckes and Bailey Curry in row 5. Row 6 will be Colby Howard and Matt DiBenedetto, as Howard gained quite a few spots on pit road as well. Quite a few spots gained also for Matty D, because he was in the back half, almost outside the top 20 there in the very beginning of the race. We'll have 98 laps to go when we go green, and we will have 25 laps to go in stage 2. Again, this is our first caution of the race during the stage 1 break. Raja Karuth lost quite a few spots on pit road. He went in 4th at the end of stage 1, came out 24th, lost 20 spots. Very slow stop there and a tough break for Raja Karuth. We'll see if he can drive through the field. He's got a quick truck today, especially in the short run. Showed a lot of speed in those first 20 laps before falling back a couple positions late. Green flag is back in the air. Carson Hocevar with a great start of that outside lane. Had a huge shot from behind by the 15 truck of Tanner Gray. Dean Thompson to the outside of Gray off the exit of turn 2 has to give him room, and Zane Smith gets split 3 wide down the backstretch. Still 2 and 3 wide as they funnel into 3 and 4. A wild restart. Just as we saw at the very start of the race, quite a bit of hard racing, fought out racing. Heim will pull clear of Hocevar off of turn 4. Carson will stay all over the back of the 11 down the front stretch. Zane Smith trying to get his momentum back behind David Gilliland in the 1 truck, who is trying to break the top 5 for the first time today. Smith lost a couple positions on pit road. I think he lost 2 or 3 spots. Didn't lose any on the restart, though. Despite being down on that inside lane, I think he was on the inside of row 4, so he actually maintained his positioning on the track. Pretty standing start for both the inside and the top side. Nobody really propelled increasingly forward, at least by a wide margin. Christian Eck is blocking a big run that Ben Rhodes had on the front stretch off turn 4 as they are in cahoots for the 9th place position on track. Matty D trying to break into that top 10. He knows how important these stage points are for him this late in the regular season as he's trying to make his way in. Back-to-back DNFs for DiBenedetto have pushed him below the cutoff line. Had a win at Talladega last year, but it was in the playoffs when he already didn't qualify, so trying to qualify for the playoffs for the first time in his truck career in his second season for the Rackley Roofing race team. And Ben Rhodes will get by. Christian Eck is finally on the outside after about a 2-lap battle. Hocevar still continues the battle with Corey Heim at the front of the field. Heim maintains with the clean air as of right now. He is still running the bottom lane, and Hocevar not running that middle groove like he was when the tires were wearing out towards the end of stage 1. He's staying on the bottom right behind the 11 on that double white line. But a great battle nonetheless as they stay nose to tail. Dean Thompson's about a second off the race lead in 3rd. Hocevar now goes to that middle to upper groove in turns 1 and 2, and he's got a big run off the exit of turn 2. He'll stay in the draft down the backstretch. Corey Heim is going to pull about a half a lane off the wall, but he's not going to break it by much. Hocevar is there into turn 3 as the battle continues. Doesn't go all the way to the middle lane that time. He only ran about a lane off the bottom instead of about a lane and a half to 2 lanes off the inside, and actually lost ground as he had a little bit of a hiccup in the center of 3 and 4. And that allowed Heim to be about 0.2 quicker than Hocevar that last lap. Big gaggle of trucks right now at the back half of the top 10. Just outside the top 10 on screen, battle for 15th between Chase Purdy, Haley Deegan, and Grant Enfinger. Deegan and Enfinger side by side. Deegan pulls up in the line, almost chopped off the 24 truck of Carruth, who had a big run, then dives to the bottom to try to get by the 13. Not going to be able to clear Deegan off the exit of the corner. Outside is very, very strong when you can get the run off the banking. If you can't clear a truck down on the inside, you tend to potentially lose a position down the straightaway after running the bottom in a corner. If somebody else ran the top behind you, it almost happened with Zane Smith and Stuart Friesen, who battled for fifth. Smith got to the inside of the 52 in turns 1 and 2 and was quickly being attacked from behind by Taylor Gray in the 17 truck, who had a major run in the 7th spot. Top 2 are really pulling away from the rest of the field. Thompson's in a league of his own in 3rd at about 1.6 seconds off the lead now, as he's about 0.3 slower the last 2 laps than the leaders ahead of him. Hocevar seems to get off turn 2 a little better than what he's getting off of turn 4 right now. That seems to be his weak point, and he has to dive down to the double white line again through 3 and 4, as he just can't really hold that middle to outside groove very well as hard as he is pushing to keep up with Heim. 0.2 of a second off the race lead at the start-finish line that last time by. 16 laps to go at stage 2. Big run for Hocevar in that middle to upper groove in turns 1 and 2 again. This is his best corner. He'll get to the outside of the 11. The 11 truck got a bit loose as he tried to give Hocevar just a little bit of room, and they'll stay side by side into 3 and 4. Corey Heim down on that double white line again. Not going to be able to stick through the bumps, and Carson Hocevar will come out with the race lead off turn 4. First time Hocevar has led tonight. This will be the 3rd different leader of the race in the first 45 laps. Carson Hocevar to the point at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. So right at the halfway point in stage 2, where we will see this next commercial break, we will go through the full field running order right now, so we're about 29 minutes into tonight's race. Still caution-free from incident. Our only yellow of the night was the end of stage 1. We will have another stage break in another 14 laps from now. Carson Hocevar has a 0.6 of a second lead quickly over Corey Heim after battling endlessly there at the beginning of the second stage. Caught up to him late on that long green flag run at stage 1. Couldn't quite get around him in time. looking to set sail in the long run again here in Stage 2 now that he has the track position. Corey Heim is still in second place, as mentioned. Dean Thompson is in third. Stuart Friesen is fourth, and Zane Smith rounds out the top 5. Tanner Gray is in 6th. Taylor Gray in 7th. Ben Rhodes in 8th. David Gill in 9th, and Christian Eckes rounds out the top 10. Colby Howard in 11th. Nick Sanchez is 12th. 13th place is Matt DiBenedetto. Bailey Curry 14th. Matt Crafton in 15th. Chase Purdy is in 16th. Grant Enfinger 17th. Roger Carruth 18th. Haley Deegan 19th. And Ty Majeski is now falling back to 20th. Jake Garcia in 21st. Daniel Dye 22nd. Tyler Ankrum 23rd. Lawless Allen 24th. Brett Holmes 25th. Jack Wood 26th. Chris Wright 27th. Mason Maggio 28th. Matt Mills 29th. And Tyler Hill, the last truck in the lead lap, is 30th. Ryan Vargas is a lap down at 31st. The first truck a lap down so far in Stage 2. Spencer Boyd 32nd. Josh Reardon 33rd. 34th is Justin Carroll. Armani Williams is 5 laps down at 35th. And the only truck out of the race tonight is Keith McGee. He'll finish last. He is 28 laps down and off track. Rounding out the 36 truck field in tonight's North Carolina Education Lottery 200 at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. We will stay right here with our coverage. We will not take a commercial break on our own. We will wait till the end of Stage 2 to do that. Matthias Gusido, thanks for tuning into the stream. Ice Demon King 92 Hammer, welcome into the stream as well. Robert Perkel, Sarah Isaac, welcome back. And I think that's it here. That has joined the chat since the start of Stage 2 that I see. Got 93 people watching right now. 46 likes on the stream, so be sure to hit that like button if you haven't done so already. And subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. Live commentary streams every weekend for the NASCAR Truck Xfinity and Cup Series. Last weekend, just the Truck and the Cup at North Wilkesboro Speedway for the All-Star Race weekend. This weekend, though, we have all 3 series racing at Charlotte. I'll also be doing live commentary Sunday afternoon for the Indianapolis 500. So we will have 2 live streams on Sunday with the Indy 500 live commentary stream starting at 12:30 in the afternoon Eastern Standard Time, and then at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in the evening for our NASCAR Cup Series race, the Coca-Cola 600. So we will be pulling off the Indy 600 double this weekend from the commentary side of things. Can't wait to do it. Hopefully my voice will hold up and we can have a good set of streaming on Sunday. Somebody asked me in the community tab post I put earlier today about the streaming schedule for the weekend. They're like, you should do Monaco Grand Prix too. I'm already going to be streaming for like 8 hours on Sunday. I'm not going to stream an extra 2 to 2.5 hours if I don't have to. I'm not a huge F1 fan. I don't know all the drivers in that series too. I know a little bit more with IndyCar, and because of its oval racing, I could probably commentate it fairly well. So I'm going to trust myself with that IndyCar broadcast, but yeah, I don't watch F1 enough. I don't know enough to do commentary for that. And I'd literally be live streaming from like 9 a.m. in the morning all the way to whenever the 600 ends at like 10:30 at night. I'm not going to be doing that. That's too much. That's overkill. My laptop probably wouldn't even make it to the end. It would probably overheat by like the start of the 600 at that point. Already having some overheating issues with it as its own. I'm kind of scared for Sunday, honestly. Hopefully all goes well with it. So far, so good tonight, though. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Almost halfway through the race, and we're almost halfway to our goal for likes, so we'll see if we can get there. Our goal is 100 likes on the stream tonight. 7 laps to go in Stage 2 as they are back from the commercial break. Already a 3.3 second lead for Hocevar over Heim. Battle for position on track going on between Nick Sanchez and Tanner Gray for 9th place. Remember, Sanchez started at the back of the field, 34th place, and has already made his way up to 9th. There hasn't been any cautions for incident, so he hasn't had many opportunities to try to jump the field on restart. So the 2-truck very fast. Maybe he can have some competing competition with Hocevar if he can get the track position, but he may need a yellow for incident at some point in the final stage to do so. Either that or have the right pit strategy on that long green flag run if we continue to stay wreck-free in tonight's race. Big slide job maneuver for 4th between Zane Smith and Stuart Friesen. Smith will pull clear, and he is about a little less than a second and a half behind Thompson in 3rd. May have a chance of catching him in the final 5 laps if he can keep his pace up. That last lap, Smith was, I guess he was about a 10th slower than Thompson, but that was also with him passing Friesen. Lap times haven't fallen off quite as much. Hocevar 31.3 that last run. His fastest of the day is a 30.2. And I think a lot of the reason why he's not falling off quite as much is because he isn't as fast on the short run as some of the other trucks in the field. But he's really fast on the long run, which is why things are working out well for him, finishing second in stage 1 and winning the first stage despite qualifying outside the top 10 today. And that is because we haven't had a caution for incident. This is the race he wanted, and it's the race he's gotten to this point in the first half. Now a 4.5 second lead. Hocevar really shellacking the field here in stage 2, but we know that we have 2 more guaranteed pit stops to come and 1 more guaranteed caution and 3 more laps. Hocevar continuing to work through lap traffic. Mason Maggio is the last truck on the lead lap in front of him. And Tyler Hill, who got the free pass at the end of stage 1, is about 3 seconds ahead of Hocevar. I don't think Hocevar will catch him before the end of the stages. We're down to 2 to go. I guess you never know. Matt DiBenedetto trying to break inside the top 10 as he battles Tanner Gray for position. And actually, they're battling for 11th because Christian Eckes is in 10th, and Matty D is starting to slip back here as Tanner Gray is going to make a pass, and now he has to play defense on the 9 truck of Colby Howard, who is ensuing a big run on the front stretch into turns 1 and 2. When Hocevar got out ahead of Corey Heim, started moving down to the bottom of the track, maybe trying to get his truck a little bit more comfortable with the inside lane, knowing that his truck seems to be better in that middle to upper groove. And it seems like he's only doing that in turns 3 and 4, and he's still ripping the high side through 1 and 2. 3 and 4 is the trouble corner for Hocevar. He hasn't really been able to run the top side. There is no PJ1 or traction compound in that second half of the racetrack compared to what we usually see at Charlotte the last handful of years. Catches a clean air with the lap truck in front of him off of turn 4. He won't quite catch him, but the green-white checkered flag will be in the air, and Carson Hocevar will win stage 2 at the Charlotte Motor Speedway tonight. Corey Heim, 5.5 seconds behind him, will finish in second in the second stage. Dean Thompson, third place for the second straight stage. Zane Smith, fourth, and Stuart Friesen will round out the top 5. Taylor Gray finishes 6th in stage 2. Ben Rhodes, 7th. David Gillen, 8th. Strong start for his first truck race of the season tonight. Nick Sanchez, 9th, and Christian Eckes will round out the top 10. So all those drivers will get stage points in stage number 2 here tonight. We'll keep that poll open just for a little bit longer. 74 votes are casted so far. At the start of stage 3, we'll close it. 39% have other picked. Zane Smith at 30% of the picks is up to 4th. Corey Heim, who continues to run well in second place, has 20% of the votes in time. Majeski fell way back in stage 2, only has 11% of the votes. So very tight poll right now. And again, you guys will have about 5 to 10 more minutes still to vote on that before we close it out. Earl Arnold Jr., thanks for tuning in. Joe C., welcome to the stream as well. I'm from Northwest Ohio. Seth Thomas, welcome to the stream also. We'll have our Stage 2 diecast showing then right now. We won't take a break quite yet. And this week's diecast showing, at least for tonight's stream, we've got a classic Jeff Burton number 99 Roush Fenway Racing Ford Taurus. It is a 2000 NASCAR diecast, so from the year 2000. And it's the classic Sitco paint scheme. This and the Exide battery scheme from the late 90s that Jeff Burton had, probably my 2 favorite Jeff Burton schemes of all time. The singular wireless car that I have is pretty cool. The orange really pops on the diecast, I think, well, but this is probably my favorite Jeff Burton diecast of all time. And the number 99, I love that number. That's the number I raced when I was younger, so I had to have a NASCAR diecast with it and chose this one. I was trying to find a Carl Edwards Aflac paint scheme over the years, and I haven't been able to find it at a racetrack yet, or at least the one I really want. I'm trying to look for like a 2010, 2011 diecast, specifically 2011 if I could find it with Carl Edwards, but haven't found it. I've seen his Office Depot car a couple times, and I just haven't gotten it because I don't really care for that one as much. His Scott's paint scheme is pretty good too. I guess I would take a Scott's Carl Edwards scheme, a mid-2000s Scott's Carl Edwards scheme, or an early 2010s Aflac scheme is probably where I'd go. I do have an Edwards diecast, but it's a Joe Gibbs Racing Stanley number 19 car, which the Stanley schemes have always been pretty good over the years too. But yep, this is the diecast showing of the night. So there will be pit stops at the Stage 2 break coming up here. This will not be the final stop of the day because they can only go about 50 to 55 laps on fuel, and we still have 72 laps to go, so they are outside the pit window to make it to the end. Tire fall off, not quite as bad as what it was in Stage 1, but we still saw about a second of fall off in that 25 lap green flag run at Stage 2 from the time they went green to the time the green white checkered flag ended up waving. How far am I from Rossburg, Ohio? Where Eldora is? Probably about 2 hours. I actually just moved here, though, last weekend. I moved a little bit closer to the city because I was about a half hour out, and now I'm like 10 minutes or so outside of Toledo. Kind of in the suburb area. One of the suburb towns. Quite a bit of contact being made tonight on these restarts. Little Rubbins racing going on, but no incidents so far. No punctured tires from what I've seen from the contact either, so that's good. Carson Hocevar, Corey Heim both split first and second in both stages, so they get the most stage points tonight with 19. Dean Thompson scored 16 stage points, Zane Smith with 13, and Stuart Friesen with 9. Were the 5 drivers with the most stage points through the first 2 stages tonight. And once again, 4 stages in the Coke 600 on Sunday at Charlotte.
And try to keep that track position. It's so important. 30 trucks on the lead lap. So important not to have another mistake. Especially if you're Raja, who's proven to have such a fast truck. We can't have another stumble here. Only got back to 19th in that second stage. I mentioned 30 trucks on the lead lap. Free pass with his caution that comes out to end stage 2 goes to Mason Maggio. Top 5 for pit stops: Hocevar, Heim, Thompson, Zane Smith, Stuart Friesen. Heim won the race off pit road last time. He's got that number 1 pit stall. See if this crew can gain him a spot here. Pit road is open. They're heading your way, Amanda.
One of those guys you said was having a great night is Dean Thompson. He was told again to park that truck a little bit short of to make room for Zane Smith as you see him go in front of him there. But Dean's been saying that he's loose in the middle and tight on extra. The team said that a big air pressure adjustment was going to come, and Dean simply said, "Are you sure?" And then with Dean Thompson saying making a little adjustments, Jamie. For Carson Hocevar, his crew chief Bill Gould said, "What do you need?" And Carson said, "What were my lap times? Compare them." They told him the information. Carson said, "I don't need a thing. I don't even want the tear off, but go ahead and give me that clean windshield." Move up to Corey Heim. To remember, after he got passed by Carson Hocevar, he was not happy with the stability of that truck, so they made some pretty big changes there. He said he didn't want to be committed to one lane, so they're trying to give him more to work.
Corey Heim barely wins that race off pit road in the drag race with Carson Hocevar. They were 3 wide back there around Dean Thompson, Zane Smith, and Stuart Friesen for 4th. Taylor Gray gains 3 positions off of pit road as the biggest gainer of those in the top 10. Thompson, Smith, Friesen all lost a spot. Hocevar obviously lost a spot, losing the lead, falling back to 2nd. Nick Sanchez up 1, David Gilliland down 1, and Chase Purdy up 2 inside the top 10.
Second stage, but the 11 team.
Looks like FS1 going to a commercial break. We'll take a quick break of our own. Again, you're listening live for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series North Carolina Education Lottery 200 on the stream. Just over 100 people right now in the stream. We've got 58 likes. Our goal is 100 tonight. And we are just about halfway through this race, and we're just past halfway to our goal. So we are on pace to getting that goal of 100 likes tonight. I think we can get there. Easily can get there. Can't wait. It's been a pretty solid race so far. Very quick race. Again, no cautions for incident. Hopefully, knock on wood here. Hopefully we don't get any yellows. Like to see how the pit strategy potentially plays out in this final stage. If Corey Heim can keep up with Hocevar long enough, to get into green flag pit stops and pit like a lap or two before him, he can probably jump a couple seconds and get back to the lead. So I don't think Hocevar's completely won this race yet, even though he had a 5.5 second lead in the 25 lap stint there in stage 2. It's clear that Carson Hocevar has the fastest long run truck, and Corey Heim has probably the fastest short run truck in the field. And him winning that race off pit road's huge, which there was quite a big gap between Hocevar and Heim going into the pits as well. Hocevar had like 3 or 4 lap cars that were between him, so that was a very fast stop by that 11 team for Tricon Garage to get him out ahead of the 42 by a nose, and maybe a slight slow stop there for Hocevar that might have let the 11 in. Mason Maggio got the free pass of the 30th place position, so we're back to 30 trucks on the lead lap again, just like we were at the start of stage 2. I think he was the only truck that was on the lead lap at the start of the second stage that actually went a lap down. Everybody else who was already a lap down lost another lap, so everybody from 31st on back is at least 2 laps down in the field, and Keith McGee still the only truck out of the race today. Armani Williams had that early flat tire, had to come to pit road, repair some damage. There were no caution for that. Maybe he just had too low of air pressure off the start of the race. Maybe contact with it, maybe rubbed it down those first couple laps, but he's like 7 laps down. Still on track. He's kind of been off the pace too. I don't know if that would have been because of the flat tire or maybe amplified with the lap tire issue. But yeah, can't wait to see how this final stage will go. I think we're set up for maybe a wild one here today. I don't want to get copyrighted for the music. They're back from the commercial break. There we go.
It's going to be crazy. It definitely has been crazy. 2 stages down. The final stage to come. 68 laps to go for the Craftsman Truck Series at Charlotte. What a treat it has been.
Yes, it has. We're choosing here. Feel like Corey will go low. And I think Carson's going to do the opposite no matter what. We've seen both lanes work, Phil. Stewart decides to go up top. Yeah, he gave up a row to go up top. Ben shoots to the bottom. You talked about it, but what a great run for Ben. Started back in 19th, has been able to move forward. He needs a good run, couple of rough weeks. He's going to restart 5th.
Taylor Gray in a great position here in the 17. Unfortunately, Tanner, his brother, started on the pole, led laps early, was 13th at the end of stage 2, had to make an unscheduled pit stop. They came back down, they've lost a lap, so he's in a tough spot now behind the 8 ball. Good news for him, he got some big stage points, Jamie.
Yeah, it was certainly a good start to the day for Tanner, and the problem that he had to come back to pit lane for was an overheating issue. They think they've corrected it, but they put the hood down, trying to get him out of pit lane before he went a lap down. Unfortunately, just a few seconds too late, so he lost that lap anyway, and they're still talking about what caused the issue to begin with, but it was a temperature problem for Tanner.
So frustrating when you're sitting on pit road. The spotter's telling you where the pace car is. He's coming off turn 4. He's at the start and finish line. You're still sitting on pit road. So frustrating. You want to go, but you have to wait till the guys are done.
He needs to get in the free pass position, get a quick caution, get back on the lead lap.
Green flag will be back in the air. We'll be officially halfway home. 67 laps down, 67 to go, and we are racing again. Stage 3 underway at Charlotte for the Truck Series on a Friday night. Corey Heim on the inside of the front row of the restart. Carson Hocevar on the outside leads the field down into turn 1. 2 by 2 most of the way through the field. Zane Smith gets split 3 wide by Stuart Friesen, who goes up the middle between the 1 and the 38. Dick Sanchez now in the middle lane as well, squeezes his way between the 1 and the 38. Great run. Still going to be 3 wide back there going into the corner. Corey Heim is easily clear into turns 3 and 4. Sanchez still sandwiched 3 wide middle. A couple of rows back, they're 3 wide as well. Zane Smith almost popped the wall. The one truck had to clear the 2, luckily, so that way they didn't all get too tight off of turn 4, which is a much tighter exit to the corner than turn 2. And a tighter entry into turn 3 as well versus turn 1. Maybe that is part of the reason why it's a little harder for some of these drivers to try to run that outside groove on that end of the track. Maybe slightly more bumps as well. Carson Hocevar in second place. Corey Heim is the leader once again, which is what we saw at the end of stage 1 and really at the start of stage 2. It took about half the stage before Hocevar was able to get to the lead, and just after taking the lead with about 15 to go in that stage, he was quickly able to get out to a 5.5 second lead. So we'll see how long Corey Heim can try to hang on here at the beginning of this final stage. Clean Air is king if he can hold on in front of Hocevar, but once Hocevar got to the lead, he drove off, and we'll see if he can do that again. Dean Thompson, great run tonight, third in both stages as well, a lot of stage points there, and ends up in third off this restart again. Ben Rhodes up to a race high fourth place position, cracking the top 5, and Zane Smith lost about 3 spots on that restart. Matt DiBenedetto back in the top 10 up to 9th, and Ty Majeski with a great recovery. He's now back in the top 10 in the 10th place position after finishing 6th at the end of stage 1 and starting 2nd tonight. Nick Sanchez, who was top 10 at the end of stage 1, lost a couple spots on pit road. He's battling with Christian Eckes off turn 2. Eckes went all the way to the apron to try and break the side draft that Nick Sanchez had on him there off the exit of the corner. That does not work out for the 19 truck. He had too tight of a corner entry, and that allowed for the 2 to clear him on the outside lane. So that battle for 11th place continues on, as Sanchez will hold the position at least for now, as it looked like Eckes tried to throw a block and maybe almost turned himself off the front bumper of the 2. And now he'll go right back at it off turn 2 again. Nick Sanchez now is slow on the back stretch, and he's going to lose a bunch of positions. There's a problem for Nick Sanchez. He's going to pull to the apron into turns 3 and 4, and I think he may be having flat tires. A lot of sparks coming out of the back of the 2 truck. Tough break for Sanchez, who came into this race slightly below the cutoff line. Had a great recovery day. No stage points in stage 1 because of starting deep in the field. So not a great points day for him so far with 30 trucks on the lead lap on the restart. Sanchez is now on pit road. Terrible break for that team. Unscheduled stop. Flat tire on the right front for Sanchez's race truck. It looked like he maybe made contact with the 19 truck on that restart. Maybe a lap before he ended up actually passing him. So a tough break there. Nick Sanchez is now going to go a lap down, maybe even 2 laps down, depending on how long it's going to take for him to get that fender pulled out from his pit crew. To the inside of the 11 truck, off turn 2 goes Carson Hocevar. A bit of a tight moment in the second half of 1 and 2 for Corey Heim. Heim's going to be on the outside of the 42 now, and he can't hold the top well. Hasn't really ran there much of the day. And Carson Hocevar, for the second different time, is in the lead with 59 laps to go. Not quite as intense of a battle this time around between the 42 and the 11. Hocevar looking to drive away into the sunset here once again. FS1 going to take a side-by-side commercial break right now. Again, your top 5 right now with 59 laps to go in the North Carolina Education Lottery 200. Carson Hocevar has a 1/10 of a second lead over Corey Heim in second. Dean Thompson's 2.1 seconds off the lead in third. Ben Rhodes is 2.3 seconds off the lead. And Stuart Friesen rounds out the top 5 of 2.9 seconds off the lead. So that is the top 5 following the start of stage number 3. On screen, Zane Smith and Stuart Friesen battling for 5th place on the racetrack. Smith pulling side by side with Friesen. Remember, he was 4th at the end of stage 2, but lost 3 spots on the last restart. Got stuck in the outside lane 3 wide when he got split by the 52, and then I believe the 1 of Gilliland also kind of split him. Grant Enfinger, Matt Crafton battling with each other. They were battling a lot with each other last weekend in North Wilkesboro as well. A couple of the veterans in the truck series, one of the 2 drivers that have been in the series the longest. Crafton just outside the top 10 in 12th place right now, and he is as high in the running order as he has been so far tonight. So Nick Sanchez having that problem. The biggest mover of the race then would be Tyler Ankrum in the 16 truck, who started 35th, 1 position behind Sanchez, and is currently in the, I just saw him, 19th place position. Sanchez is 1 lap down at 30th, and because you heard there during the caution period during the stage 2 break that there was an unscheduled stop for Tanner Gray, so he actually started the stage a lap down after having an uncontrolled tire, not an uncontrolled tire, but a tire that was not secured tightly. They didn't get enough lug nuts on it, so they brought it back onto pit road and ended up actually going a lap down. So because of the unscheduled stop for Tanner Gray, he is actually the first truck a lap down, and not Nick Sanchez, who was in 30th right behind him. 28 trucks on the lead lap currently, and if we get another long green flag run, Hocevar is going to catch up to lap traffic, and neither one of those two will be able to get back in the lead lap despite the fact that they both have top 10 speed. 1.7 seconds ahead is Hocevar over Heim right now, and Dean Thompson, who is in third, is in a close battle with Ben Rhodes right now for that third place position. .9 seconds out ahead now. Hocevar quickly starting to pull away from Heim once again. 54 laps to go. Caution is out. One truck has wrecked on pit road. Severe damage to the front. I think it might be Matt DiBenedetto. No, never mind. It's, my bad. It looked like the 25 truck with the paint scheme. It is not. It is Armani Williams in the 46 truck who has spun onto pit road. He missed the pit wall that separates the racetrack from the pit lane. He somehow drove past that, cracks the inside wall on pit road, and there is no safer barrier on that wall either. That is a concrete wall, and hopefully all the safety officials and crew members that were down there are hopefully okay, because it looked like that was a pretty vicious impact. After a spin off of turn 4, slid down towards pit road. He missed the barrels, beeline towards the inside wall head on, and smashed it. And this is our first wreck of the night. He just got loose. Truck slipped out from underneath him. He was on the bottom lane. Didn't really look like the rear end of the truck came around drastically before that. It just was all of a sudden it broke loose on him. And a pretty hard hit into a concrete wall with no safer barrier down there, but luckily it didn't look like he hit any equipment that was on top of the wall. He slid into the first box, but when he made contact with the pit wall itself, he wasn't quite to where any of the pit crew were set up at that point, luckily. So that could have been a much worse situation. Luckily, it looks like all parties are okay from that accident, and Williams is hopping out of the race truck as they'll pull that truck in to the garage. So a tough break. He went a few laps down early in the race because of a flat tire in the opening laps, and now a crash here off turn 4 will take him out. He'll be the second driver to retire from the race as we have 52 laps to go. We'll take a quick break here. Again, you are watching the North Carolina Education Lottery 200 at the Charlotte Motor Speedway for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series live on YouTube on KRC. We're going to end that poll now in this final stage. 39% of you guys think that neither one of Zane Smith, Corey Heim, or Ty Majeski will win tonight's race of the 87 votes casted in that poll. Thanks for everybody voting on that one. Zane Smith at 25% of the votes was the second highest vote getter and the highest of the actual three. Corey Heim, 21% of the votes and 13% of the votes with Ty Majeski. Because Carson Hocevar does seem to have the quickest truck tonight and is currently the race leader, that may be a good vote for you guys to take other. Smith is in 5th, Heim is in 2nd, and then Majeski is up to 8th. He's actually made a really good recovery. Don't count him out yet. He was my pick to win today's race. And he's starting to make a comeback here after a slow pit stop back at the end of stage 1. And he was, I think, 20th on that restart to start stage 2. I don't think he's got race-winning speed, though. He's got a good short-run truck, but he doesn't have as good of a long-run truck, and that has kind of been the struggle point for Thor Sport Racing this year, and I think that's a large reason as to why they haven't won a race this season. They've had consistent speed. 3 of their drivers are in the top 10 in points, top 7 in points, in fact, and I think Majeski's 2nd in points coming in. So they've been very consistent, but they just haven't won. You can be consistent for so long before you just finally break victory lane, whether it's drivers ahead of you having troubles when you're running as maybe like a 3rd or 4th fastest vehicle in a race. You run consistently at the front enough times, you will break victory lane, whether you're the fastest truck in that said race or not. And that is part of what is good with being consistent, and that's why you see a lot of consistent drivers get wins throughout the course of the season like that. Ryan Blaney is a guy that kind of falls into that many wins. I think he's probably the prime example of that, at least in the NASCAR Cup Series today, where he's so consistent, and he's not a guy that's going to go out there and lead a bunch of laps and win a race, but we've seen him win races in the past just like that. I mean, 2 of his 3 wins back in 2021 were basically like that. And he had a couple other wins like that in his career before that point, too, that were very similar, where capitalized on a lot of other people's mistakes. Not all of his wins have been like that. I think there's some over-exaggeration where people are a little too hard on Blaney. And I'm saying this as a Ryan Blaney fan because I see this kind of hate a lot on the internet where, you know, he'll maybe back into a win, as Denny Hamlin would say, or some people would say that he backs into wins, but you got to put yourself in the right place at the right time for that to happen. It's part of being consistent. Just hasn't had the luck to actually pull into victory lane the last couple of years, and hasn't quite had that top speed either, which is a large reason for it. Because I think he's like top 5 in points again this year, if I'm not mistaken. I think he's 4th or 5th in the regular season standings, so he's having another good, consistent year. I think last year at the end of the regular season, he finished 2nd in the regular season standings, 2nd or 3rd. Didn't win a single race all year. Made it to the round of 8. And this year he's in the top 5 again. Quietly. Pit road will be open this time by, I do believe, and we'll see if the leaders will make their way down. They are within the window to make it on field at the end of the race, so I'd imagine that drivers will pit. We'll see if maybe we see some 2-tire strats versus 4. This is the first race of the Triple Truck Challenge also. I did not mention that in the pre-race. Sorry for that. The 3 races will be at Charlotte this weekend, at Gateway next week, and then in 3 weeks at Nashville are the next 3 Truck Series races. There are no Cup or Xfinity Series regulars that are eligible to run the races in the field, so that's why there's no Cup regulars in the field tonight. The first race, a $50,000 bonus to the race winner. If you win 2 of the 3 races, you get a $150,000 bonus on top of your actual race winnings, and a $450,000 bonus if you can win all 3 races, which is massive for a NASCAR Truck Series team. Still having some cleanup on pit road, which is the reason for pit road still not opening up yet. Remember, Armani Williams spun into the pit wall there at the entrance of the pit lane. Carson Hocevar leads the way, and so far, I do believe he has led the most laps. Nope, not quite. Corey Heim has led 48. Hocevar's led 33 and counting, and Taylor Gray led the first 3. 49 laps led for Heim, sorry. 49 for Heim. 33 for Hocevar, and 3 for Tanner Gray. And we'll see if pit road will be open this time by. Like the cleanup having to get all the speedy dry over that fluid at the entrance of pit road. Usually in a situation where you see a caution, pit road would have been open by now, but because the crash led onto pit road with that one truck incident of Armani Williams, that is why pit road has still not yet opened, and I don't think it is open this time either. Nope. So pit road, oh no, never mind, it is open.
What are they saying? What's the strategy?
Yeah, Dean Thompson was told that if either the 2 guys ahead of him pit, to go ahead and come on in, and that is exactly what he did. You can see some tires going on. He said that the truck is coming to him more and more, but still a little loose. And for Zane Smith, man, he just wants to find some clean air out there. Said that it's 10 times worse than dirty air. He's searching for some right rear groove would be nice. Jamie? For Carson Hocevar, his crew chief Phil Gold told me that the only adjustment that they're going to end up making all night at this point is just that slight air pressure adjustment they made after the first stage to get the 4 tires, top him off. For Corey Heim, he was unhappy with the way his truck was driving once Carson Hocevar made that pass around him. He said, I can't run that same speed, but he does have that number 1 pit stall. Let's see if he can keep the lead around Carson to exit pit lane. He said, we've got to get it full, otherwise any of these adjustments aren't worth it.
Strategy.
Big strategy calls made. Chase Purdy wins the race off pit road. He took no tires. Haley Deegan also took right side tires only. She made up 13 positions, and she will be 5th on the ensuing restart. Ben Rhodes actually won the race off of pit road. Of those that took 4 tires, he ended up gaining 2 spots overall. and a slow stop for Corey Heim, I do believe, and Carson Hocevar. So they're going to have to make up a little bit of ground. They've been the two fastest trucks in the race. They've got some trucks starting right around them, if not ahead of them, on older tires, and this will be interesting when they head to the choose roll here in a couple laps. We'll take another quick break here under the longer caution period in this final stage for our first caution for incident tonight. We're up to 67 likes on the stream. We've had over 100 people watching for a pretty good portion of this race so far, so definitely hit that like button if you haven't done so already. Our goal is 100 likes. And again, I will have the live commentary streams for the rest of tonight's race, tomorrow's Xfinity race, which will be at noon Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. And then we'll be doing the double on Sunday. Indianapolis 500 commentary Sunday afternoon at 12:30, and then our live commentary stream for the Coca-Cola 600 will start at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as well. So again, quick break here, and then we'll get back to the action on the restart. You're listening live to the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series on KRC. So once again, let me know if you guys can hear me clearly. I know some of you guys mentioned that you were able to hear me, but pretty sure I've got the volumes all the way up on the mic. Yep. Major Kenneth Withrow, welcome into the stream. Archmod, thanks for tuning in also. It's not 4th of July, but alright. You got the wrong holiday weekend. Thanks for tuning in, though. Appreciate you guys tuning in as always. Almost 1,000 views on the stream so far. We've still got 46 laps to go. Usually pick up on the viewership as we get later into these races too. They have got one to go signal already. Looks like they are at the choose cone right now at the back of the field, really. So they'll be going green in about a half a lap or so. The leaders are just getting down to the back stretch. Chase Purdy will be on the inside of the front row. Remember, he took no tires on pit road as fuel only. Now these guys will not have to make another stop the rest of this race if we don't get another caution. Ben Rhodes won the race out of the pits for those on 4 tires, so he'll be on the outside of row 1. Carson Hocevar will be on the outside of row 2. Behind him, Hailie Deegan, who took right side tires, only gained 13 spots on pit road. She'll be on the inside of the second row as well. And then row 3, Zane Smith will be on the inside, and on the outside will be, I believe, Taylor Gray in the 17 truck. Yep. Corey Heim having to restart outside the top 10 after a slow stop. He had been running in the top 2 all day. We'll see if he can recover. It's going to be interesting. He's had a fast short run truck. We'll see how he navigates through the field as they head through the Geico restart zone once again. Green flag back in the air. Will this be the final restart? Hailie Deegan spins her tires down to the bottom. Now gets a push from the 38 truck of Zane Smith. Looks to go 3 wide to the inside of the 4 truck of Chase Purdy. Great move there by Deegan after a big push from behind after initially not taking off well, but Purdy not taking off nearly as well either. Side by side for the lead down the backstretch between Ben Rhodes and Carson Hocevar as they go nose to tail into turns 3 and 4. A lot of 2 and 3 wide racing again behind them as we've seen on the restarts all day today. Hocevar still on the inside of Rhodes, who has been furthest up towards the front of the field. 4 wide and a crash off turn 4. Deegan is involved as she comes back across the racetrack in front of traffic. Zane Smith took a slide through the grass as well. The caution flag is out, and Zane Smith's woes continue. He has had 4 straight finishes outside the top 20 after having 5 top 5s in the first 6 races this season. And this might be a 5th consecutive finish outside the top 20 as he has lost a big regular season points lead cushion. He's 3rd in the regular season standings coming out of it. It looked like he broke loose off of turn 4. clipped the 13 truck. There's quite a bit of damage on the left front of the 38 of Zane Smith. And we're under caution for the 4th time tonight, second for incident involving the 13 and the 38. Waiting to see a replay, but it did look like Zane Smith got loose. And I'm not sure if he had contact or not, and I'm not sure if that was a round where they were 4 wide or not either, because they were 4 wide in the center of 3 and 4, middle of the pack, but I couldn't tell exactly where that was taking place. Ben Rhodes had the lead at the time of the caution over Hocevar. They were side by side, but through the last scoring loop at the time of the caution, Rhodes is the race leader. And quite a bit of damage on that left front of Zane Smith and the right side door of the 13 truck as well. A lot of bear bond going on the 38 of Zane Smith. Just a rough second half of the regular season for him right now. Really middle portion of the regular season for the Truck Series. So Smith was actually on the inside lane. Had the 17 truck to his outside. He just bobbled. Smith lost the truck, and because the 17 was on the outside, he did a great job trying to steer clear off of Taylor Gray in the 17, but in doing so, he ended up spinning out off turn 4. Deegan almost had it missed, got sideswiped there at the last second. She was a couple rows behind Zane, who was in third, or battled for third, I should say, with the 17 truck. Roger Cruth driving very fast through the AstroTurf down on the inside of the racetrack, trying to get by both the race trucks. Made it through that blaze of smoke. Luckily, the field was able to get back down quickly enough. I think Deegan tried to regain the surface, so she didn't lose as many spots, but she's going to end up having to hit pit road anyway with the damage on the right side of her truck. Chase Purdy fell back to 15th before the caution came out in 2 laps. 2 laps, Chase Purdy went from the lead to 15th with not taking tires. We saw about a second of fall off after about 15 laps. And we ran just about 10 laps, give or take, at the start of stage 3 to when that caution came out. I think the caution came out right around 57 to go, and we went green with 67 to go. So yeah, about 10 laps on his tires. He'll more than likely hit pit road here, but he's only going to have about 2 lap fresher tires, so I don't think that's going to do much. He hasn't really had a top 10 truck either, so bold strategy call that definitely didn't pan out for him, and really had nothing to do with that accident, though. Zane Smith just hit the bumps in the wrong spot in the second half of turns 3 and 4, got loose on the bottom, and slid sideways. Did a great job keeping it off of Taylor Gray, not collecting more trucks in the incident, but tough break for the defending series champion again. Finishes 22nd, 32nd the last 2 races. Kansas, he actually finished 3rd, but then he did finish outside the top 10 the 2 races before that. And I think he was outside the top 20, if I remember correctly, from the North Wilkesboro race last week. So this, assuming he can't get back inside the top 20, depending on how much that damage will slow him up on the left front of the race truck, this will be the 5th finish outside the top 20 for Zane Smith in the last 6 races. That is just a rough stretch. Just incredible. Thanks for tuning in. Regine Huddleston, welcome to the stream as well. And we're just over 100 people watching once again. Again, thanks for everybody tuning in tonight. We are down to 41 laps to go in this Truck Series race at Charlotte. Couple of cautions back-to-back here in the final stage within these first 20 laps of stage 3. Everybody's good on fuel to make it to the end after that last pit stop, which took place with about 50 to go during the caution flag period. This is our second caution for incident involving Haley Deegan and Zane Smith after Zane Smith got loose in a battle for 3rd. Deegan running a couple rows on older left side tires behind him, ended up getting collected as well. Both trucks are on the lead lap still, and they should both remain in the race. I don't think there's anything really broken on either race truck, but they are damaged pretty heavily that I would imagine aerodynamically they're probably not going to perform quite as well as what they were running before that incident. Zane Smith had kind of been in and out of the top 5 for most of the night. Deegan, I think before she went with the 2-tire strategy call, I think she was 16th at the end of stage 2. It's going to be tough to get back to there with the damage on the right side of the race truck. It's probably going to take a lot of the side force away, which will help try to keep the right sides planted to the track in the middle of the corner, because this Charlotte surface is getting a little bumpier here over the years. Mentioned that earlier today, and that's what caused Zane Smith to break loose. He got through the bumps at a bad spot. We saw a couple of other trucks also have similar issues today, but didn't quite spin out. Off the exit of turn 4, where Zane Smith got loose and spun, that was actually where we saw Armani Williams spin and hit the pit wall right before that caution for Zane Smith, which set up that restart where everybody was bunched together there. So our only 2 spins of the night, right off the exit of turn 4, almost the same spot, both on the bottom lane, just getting into the bumps a little wrong and knocking the truck sideways. So it'll be interesting to see. I do remember quite a few accidents from the Cup Series race last year off the exit of the corners, specifically off the exit of turn 4 later in the race. And that's seeming like the trend here in this Truck Series race as well. So we'll see if that will continue on in these final 40 laps. They have not gotten the 1-to-go signal yet, so we will take another quick break. Sorry for all the... we didn't get any cautions in the first 2 stages, so I didn't do any ad breaks during the first 2 stages except for the stage breaks. So sorry for running a lot in this final stage. We're finally getting cautions, though, for me to do it. So we'll take another quick break here, and then we'll be back for the restart. You're listening live on KRC on YouTube. Be sure to like and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. So again, Ben Rhodes is the race leader, has elected the outside lane for the restart. Carson Hocevar will be on the bottom. Now, we've seen the lead truck only take the bottom. Rhodes took the outside the last restart, but remember, it's because Chase Purdy, who had older tires, didn't take any tires during the pit stop before that, had about 10 lap older tires, restarted underneath him, and a much better launch, obviously, for Ben Rhodes as a result, with Carson Hocevar right behind him, pushing him. But we'll see how Ben Rhodes will fare on the top side this time. We'll have Dean Thompson. Actually, Thompson's in the 3rd row. 2nd row on the outside will be Taylor Gray in the 17. Christian Eck is up inside the top 5 for the first time, really out of nowhere. That 19 truck will be on the inside of row 2. And then row 3 on the restart, Dean Thompson on the outside, Ty Majeski on the inside. And then row 4 will be Corey Heim and Stuart Friesen, with Friesen on the bottom and Heim on the top. The pace truck will pull onto pit road this time. We'll go green with 38 laps to go in this NASCAR Craftsman truck race at Charlotte. Side by side are the leaders. The green flag is back in the air again. Who will get the launch? Bottom has been the preferred lane. A bit questionable that Ben Rhodes takes the top, but a good launch for the 99 and quickly pulls down. Great move. Big push, though, going into turn 1 for Carson Hocevar. He's got the 19 truck all over his back bumper. The 99 goes up to block. A crossover move now by Hocevar to get to the inside off the exit of the corner. And now it's going to be Christian Eckes to the bottom. 3 wide for the race lead down the back. Big run for Christian Eckes in the 19 truck as he's going to try to pull off the move into turns 3 and 4. Hocevar is sideways in the middle lane, has to lift out of the throttle. The 99 stays in the gas, planted off turn 4, and Ben Rhodes leads at Charlotte with 37 to go and is quickly clear by about a half a second as they're still 2x2 behind him for 2nd place. Eck is keeping the battle underneath the 42 truck. The 5 of Thompson gets a little loose getting into turn 1. He's up and almost into the outside walls. He lost a couple spots, falling back to 5th. Taylor Gray's in 4th right now, right in front of the 5. Hocevar did hang on to 2nd as he was able to clear Christian Eckes off turn 2 and is trying to quickly get after Ben Rhodes for the lead and make the pass as quickly as he can. 36 laps to go. 98 laps complete. Wild restart so far tonight at Charlotte. That one may be the wildest of them all after a 3-wide battle for the lead in about the first 3 quarters of that opening lap on the restart. Great job by Hocevar, 3-wide middle, to hold a steady wheel through the bumps, not make contact with anybody, not overdrive the race truck. Still came out of it in 2nd. He didn't lose both spots. He just really maintained his position because he was 2nd on the restart anyway. And now, after a couple laps, he is starting to run down Ben Rhodes. We know Hocevar's got the fastest long-run truck in the field. Top two have pulled away. Hocevar all over the back of Rhodes off turn 2. That is where Hocevar's been better than everybody else today. Has been 1 and 2, 3 and 4, maybe not quite as good. But 1 and 2 is definitely the better corner for Hocevar, and that may be the opportunity where he's going to be able to try to pull to the inside and make a pass for the lead. Dean Thompson off the outside almost gets blocked into the wall in the front stretch by Taylor Gray, who's trying to hold on for his position. 3 wide into turn 1 around him. One truck diving off to the bottom, couldn't tell who that was, and there is the move to the inside through 1 and 2 for Hocevar, and as exactly predicted, Hocevar is side by side down the back. He'll try to pull the slide job off into 3 and 4. Ben Rhodes going to hold him tightly down on the bottom of the track, but can't do it enough. Big wiggle on that outside lane by Ben Rhodes, and easily clear by about 2 truck lengths as Hocevar off the exit of turn 4. 33 laps to go. Carson Hocevar to the point for the 3rd different time tonight. Hasn't been that fast on pit road, but has been fast on the racetrack, and he's getting it done so far. He's got a 0.3 of a second lead in this race at the start-finish line over Ben Rhodes, and is trying to pull away once again. It has been Hocevar's race to lose, the way that the pit crew has lost him the lead on pit road, but again, on the track, the 42, clearly the fastest truck once we get 10-plus laps into the run, and here he goes again, trying to make up for the lost cause when it isn't his fault on pit road. He is really putting that Nice Motorsports race team on his back and trying to win his 2nd race of the year, both 1.5 miles, and his 2nd win in 5 races in the Truck Series season. And this one, way more of a complete race, I think, for Hocevar than the Texas race, where he only led the final lap as it ended under caution with that crash in front of him with the leaders. Corey Heim, who lost a lot of spots on pit road, restarted outside the top 10 and has quickly made his way to 3rd as he got by the 19 truck on the outside lane of Christian Eckes. Don't think he's got anything for Carson Hocevar in the long run. He hasn't really so far tonight, but if he can get up there in contention with another restart, we know Heim has had the fastest short-run truck for about those first 10 laps, has had a much better pit crew as well. Maybe look out for Corey Heim to contend for the win still, as he has made a great recovery. Both himself and Hocevar pretty rough on pit road for both of them. Caution flag is out with 31 laps to go. A crash on the backstretch involving the 02 and the... can't tell who else is involved there. The 16, Tyler Ankrum is in it. Chris Wright and Tyler Ankrum have crashed off of turn 2. Down the backstretch, they were kind of hung up on each other there. And unfortunately for Tyler Ankrum, he was another driver just below the cutoff line on points. Both him and Nick Sanchez having issues today. And Nick Sanchez is now going to be in the free pass position, actually, so Sanchez will get back on the lead lap. He was as high as 8th earlier, back in stage 2. And then the caution before that, I believe the 30 truck of Ryan Vargas got the free pass. Tanner Gray got the free pass during the Armani Williams crash, so Nick Sanchez will be back on the lead lap now after this incident. So that's a big caution for him. It took a few for him to get the free pass, but now he is in it. It looked like the 02 truck just wiggled and crowded the 16 into the wall off turn 2. He didn't give him a lot of room in the center of the corner, and then when he had the wiggle, there was really nowhere for him to go once he went up the hill. And because the 16 was to his outside, he ended up collecting him. So, tough break. Sure, Ankrum frustrated already, wasn't having a great day. Pretty much been outside the top 15 the whole race. Qualified back at 35th. I think he might have had an issue in qualifying, whatever the case was. Started towards the tail, didn't have a quick race truck today, and is going to lose even more points on that cutoff line compared to what he was already looking at losing coming into the night. So pit road will be open here very shortly, and it'll be interesting to see if we will see drivers hit pit road. I think a lot of these teams still have one set of tires left. I could be wrong on that, but I do think a lot of them still have 4 fresh Goodyears that they can throw on it. Man, it's a tough call. I think you have to do it. I think you have to take 4. We've seen about a second of fall off after 15 laps. They ran 2, got a caution, then they ran about 5 or 6 laps before getting that caution flag. So they probably have about 8 laps on their tires, which is going to be a fall off of about 6 to 7/10 of a second if I had to guess. It's hard not to pit. Their fastest laps, Hocevar's fastest lap was on lap 98, which was the second or third green flag lap of the final stage. He dropped a 30.017. His lap times are probably going to be about a 36-37 without it. The problem is if he stays out and enough drivers outside the top 10 pit, then I think you kind of run into an issue where, maybe Grant Enfinger, Roger Carruth, who has had speed today and are back in that position, maybe they can take tires and actually make some ground off of it, really.
Out here racing, trying to get some positions. Just how tough is it to battle back through when you're just, gosh, you probably just want to pack up and leave for the day.
Yeah, but you can't. You gotta fight. You gotta hang in there. Be persistent. There's a couple of replays we're gonna see. This one, as we look back toward turn 4, turn 2 doesn't show it. They're already together there.
They've already been made.
There you see the damaged number 16 truck limping back. I think you're going to see the top of the screen there.
Yeah, the 16 is
there.
16 is all the way up next to the wall. I don't know if they're claiming that he came down the racetrack. Somebody may have moved down a foot or so.
I don't think he had any choice.
He was up at the top of the racetrack.
Hopefully the team will calm the situation down. The FNB Corporation truck doesn't make a swat at him.
Seeing all these great pictures, and it gives us an opportunity, reminds us to say thank you to the men and women of Fox Sports who put in the long days, traveling across the country, setting up everything that goes into making an event like this happen. It'll be a long weekend today, tomorrow, and of course the Coca-Cola 600 on Fox Sunday evening. But we salute everybody behind the scenes who's here early, they leave late. And tonight, who would have believed, but all of our camera operators, they've got on the cold weather gear. It's a cool night up there on those camera stands with that wind blowing here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Thank you to everyone.
Had a little fun together last night with all the production crew, talking about racing, and got a great band they put together, sung some great rock and roll music, and just celebrated what's been a great year on Fox NASCAR.
Is that our?
There he goes, lead singer right there. Johnny Russell swatting at the guitar. There he is. There's Steven on lead vocals. Do it, Steven.
We need to put that headset into the broadcast, right? Let him sing a tune for us.
Karen Facing does such a great job with us, getting us where we're supposed to be on time. And last night she put together a great evening, and we had a lot of fun. Still going to be yellow, so Chase Purdy made his way to pit road and got those tires we talked about, guys. So be looking for him to make a strong run through the field.
Restart when we come back. We'll get it inside of 25 laps to go. 5th caution of the night at Charlotte.
So there you go, a commercial break on FS1. And we will have less than 25 laps to go when we go green in tonight's NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Pretty quick race pace at the start, no cautions at all for incident in stages 1 and 2. 3 of them for incident in the final stage thus far, giving us 5 total yellow flags. Excuse me. Corey Heim has still led the most laps with 49 laps. Like Carson Hocevar is fastly approaching that with 42 laps led. Everybody pretty much stayed out of the pits there except for Chase Purdy, who came down to take 4 fresh tires. Remember, he stayed out, so I do think that most of these teams have used their final set already. Except for Purdy, who saved that set. Now he'll take on the tires. I don't think he'd been inside the top 10 on speed today. Was just there because he had stayed out and gotten the lead on a restart. We have had, I believe, 5 different drivers lead laps tonight, and in total we have had about 12 lead changes. Yep, 12 lead changes with those 5 different leaders. And nothing bigger than a 2-truck incident so far today, and then a single truck spin by the 46 earlier in the race as well. So if we do run green to the end, we will definitely go brakeless the rest of the way. This will be our final ad break on the live commentary stream, and we will have just north of 20 laps to go when we go green. 80 likes on the stream. Our goal is 100 tonight, so we are down to just 20 likes to get the goal, and we are right at about 20 to go. So it's getting down to crunch time. We'll see if we can get there. Again, you're listening live for some more NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series action here on KRC tonight. So this is our final break. Chris Davis, thanks for tuning in here recently. Mark Barnum, welcome into the stream as well. I saw you in the chat a little bit ago. And shout out to everybody who is watching here late on a Friday night. These truck races don't usually start this late, especially on the East Coast, but they did have the ARCA race at Charlotte earlier this evening. I think that started at 6 local time, so that is why the truck race started a little later. Usually they start between 7 and 8 o'clock, so this one running just a slight bit later as a result, but you would think they're out west. I think the Vegas race earlier this year started at like 9 or 10, but that was also on the West Coast, so that's understandable. But, yeah, field is doubled up. They will be going green. We'll have 24 laps to go in the restart. Fans on their feet at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Again, nice crowd on hand for the Truck Series race. Sold out this weekend for all things for the Coke 600. Grandstands and camping all sold out this weekend, so great to see. That is, I believe, the third year in a row that they've done that for the 600. Green flag back in the air. Hocevar on the outside of the front row, and he spins the tires, and that's going to allow the 99 of Ben Rhodes to take the lead into turn 1. Christian Eckes from the inside of row 2 to the outside. Big block by Ben Rhodes as he crowds the 19. 3 wide in the middle for second now is Carson Hocevar down the backstretch as he tries to hang on. Ty Majeski is on the inside of the 42. The 19 is still up on the wall on the outside with a big run and dive bombs to the inside into turns 3 and 4. And a big block again by Ben Rhodes as he holds on to the lead. Loose moment through the bumps on the inside of the racetrack for Ty Majeski as he crowds the 42 of Hocevar, who has lost about 5 positions after leading this race prior to the last caution. Hocevar will get to the outside of Majeski now, and he will make the pass for 5th place on the racetrack in his preferred lane in turns 1 and 2, but Carson Hocevar falling back. He got stuck behind the 98, who had a big wiggle in the middle of 3 and 4, and they went 3 wide around him, plus the tire spin and the wheel spin on that restart definitely hurt the 42. First time that most of these teams have restarted on older tires in the race today, and now Hocevar is on the attack. He has had the fastest truck on the long runs today, and if it stays green to the end, that's going to be his best opportunity to win. Massive slide job through turns 1 and 2. Clears Dean Thompson. He's had a tough time trying to clear drivers on the bottom in that first attempt to try to make the pass, but that time he was able to do so on the 5. So Ben Rhodes, 0.3 of a second out ahead of Corey Heim, who's had a great rebound after a slow pit stop to get back to second. Remember, he was outside the top 10 2 restarts ago, but all these cautions have gotten Corey Heim back into the race, and Carson Hocevar trying to get himself back in as well. This is as far back as Hocevar has been in this race since the very beginning when he qualified outside the top 10. He's got his work cut out for him as we have hit the Craftsman Truck Series 20 to go. Corey Heim all over the back of the 99. If those two leaders can get side by side with each other, that will allow for Eckes and Hocevar to try to close in. They're less than a second off the lead. Hocevar battling Eckes. Eckes went to the bottom lane through 1 and 2. Big run on the backstretch for Hocevar. Hocevar is going to get underneath him. Big block by the 19, but he did not be able, or I should say was not able to hold the block successfully. And a great drive through 3 and 4 on the bottom for Carson Hocevar. He's really getting better at that end of the racetrack, and I'm sure the adjustment changes that 42 team has made throughout the course of the night has maybe helped him on that end of the track, as he was struggling there to run the bottom lane and actually make passes earlier in the race, but he's made a couple of them now on this short run since the restart. About a truck length lead for Ben Rhodes over Corey Heim down the backstretch. 18 laps to go this time by. Heim is going to run the middle to upper groove in turns 3 and 4, trying to get a run off the progressive banking as he closes on Rhodes.
It means a lot to be the winner here in Charlotte, and especially in the Triple Challenge race. I think right now Ben Rhodes, along with the spot, are just trying to be where Corey Heim wants to be. He let Corey get down to the bottom. Not going to be able to get there, though. Remember, that's
They're by 1.5. Big thing down here. Radar.
That's where Corey's been so much better. Just down on the bottom through the center of the corner. Almost made it work there in 1 and 2.
Not even bottom right there. Big gain right here. One back.
Ben Rhodes driving his tail off tonight.
Probably nothing, anything more aggravating than having a guy better than you right on your bumper late in the going, knowing you've got to drive with one eye out the front windshield and one eye in the mirror. See, Ben's committed to the second lane there. He let Corey have the bottom lane. Corey could gain on him,
Keep up the bottom
but not
right here.
enough.
One back. Got to take his air 3 and 4.
Spotter telling Ben some advice, giving him some advice about what to do. Yeah, maybe run a little bit lower. Frank Denny up on the roof telling Ben what to.
3190 or 3091, 3103 out back. Actually, that worked out good right here. They're by 3.5 to 4.
And that's, it's Ben's job to listen to Frank, but he doesn't have to do what he says if he thinks the truck feels better doing something different. But you want to have that advice, that direction, just in case. And I'm surprised too. Look at Carson. He stalled out, and here comes Dean to the bottom.
15 laps to go. This for third. Dean Thompson in the 5 having a career night.
See if he can clear Hocevar. Oh, he does. Barely gets him cleared. Let's see if Dean runs the top of the racetrack. He's been really good, especially down to 3 and 4 on the top of the racetrack. Yeah, he's been taking that thing high the whole final run here so far. I like it. Look at him open up at about 3 truck lengths on Hocevar. And gaining.
What a great Enfinger. Spent a good portion of this night outside the top 10. As Clint Boyer would say, the pay window is open. Here comes the 23, second in this race. Last year, won the last time. Did battle on a 1.5 miles in Kansas earlier this month.
Drive it down to the bottom. Gonna get even with Eckes. Can't quite make it work.
13 laps to go. A quick rundown of the full field running order in the closing laps. Ben Rhodes has a half a second lead over Corey Heim, who is in second place. Dean Thompson is in third place at 1.1 seconds off the race lead after just passing Carson Hocevar for third. Hocevar still remains in fourth, and Christian Eckes rounds out the top 5. Grant Enfinger is in sixth place, Ty Majeski 7th, Taylor Gray 8th, Matt DiBenedetto 9th, and David Gilliland rounds out the top 10. Rasha Caruth in 11th, Bailey Curry in 12th, Nick Sanchez is 13th, Matt Craft in 14th, Jake Garcia is 15th, Jace Purdy in 16th, Daniel Dye 17th, Tanner Gray has recovered to 18th from a lap down, Stuart Friesen 19th, and Lawless Allen is 20th, Jack Wood 21st, Brett Holmes 22nd, Colby Howard 23rd, Zane Smith 24th with damage, Mason Maggio in 25th, Tyler Hill 26th, Ryan Vargas is 27th in the last truck on the lead lap. Matt Mills is a lap down in 28th right now. Tyler Ingram 29th with damage. Josh Reum 30th. 31st is Spencer Boyd. Chris Wright at 32nd. 33rd place is Haley Deegan after damage from the Zane Smith incident. Justin Carroll 34th. And then 2 trucks out of the race tonight. Armani Williams will finish 35th and Keith McGee 36th. Carson Hocevar is recovered to third since the restart after losing the lead. Spun the tires on the restart, didn't take off very well, fell back to 6th, got back up to 3rd. Dean Thompson has taken over 3rd and is running the outside of the racetrack. Corey Heim has moved up near the wall as well. Hocevar still in that middle lane, but not all the way up near the wall like the 5 and the 11 are. I don't know if he feels comfortable that his truck can run up there, but whatever the case is, he isn't running quite as high, and he's losing ground to the 3 trucks ahead of him. Tough break for Hocevar, who had probably the truck to beat all night long, but is faded now that he's back in traffic for one of the first times really all night. Ever since the start of the race, he has been pretty much in the top portion of the field. He was top 2 at the end of both stages, one stage 2, finished second in stage 1, and he's trying to put a battle back to the 5 truck as he closes in that middle to bottom groove. Ran the white line all the way through turns 3 and 4 that time, but he's running out of time to catch the leaders. Ben Rhodes now 1 second ahead of Corey Heim. It is a 3-truck battle for second between Heim, Thompson, and Hocevar at this point in this race, with 8.5 laps to go, as they're all about 0.8 of a second on back off the race lead, and within about 0.8 of a second of each other, second through 4th. And Grant Enfinger did just pass Christian Eckes a couple of laps ago to move himself in the top 5 for the first time tonight as well. Great recovery run for Enfinger. He's had a lot of runs like that this season. Both him and Crafton seem to qualify pretty poorly, and by the end of the race, they get their trucks in the top 10, although tonight Matt Crafton hasn't really been able to do that, and he's still back at 15th, but Grant Enfinger has, and he's up to 5th. Matt DiBenedetto also in the top 10, needs a solid run. He's 4 points below the cutoff line coming into the race on the playoffs, and as of right now, he sits in 8th place looking for a solid night. Didn't get any stage points, so needs a solid finish to get at least some sort of a decent points day. Especially compared to those around him. There were a lot of other drivers below the cutoff line who had problems today, like Nick Sanchez. And Nick Sanchez has actually kind of recovered as well, as he's just made a pass for 10th place on David Gilliland. Sanchez is another driver who really didn't get a lot of stage points. I think he finished towards the back half of the top 10 at the end of stage 2, so he got a few, which is more than DiBenedetto. DiBenedetto was 11th in the standings, Sanchez was 12th. And both looking for top 10s to try to close that battle down with just 5 races to go in the regular season after tonight. Dean Thompson, Corey Heim, side by side for second. Thompson goes to the inside of the racetrack through 1 and 2, but will fail to make the pass. Carson Hocevar, who did catch the 5 truck a few laps ago, is now falling back again. He's about 6 to 7 tenths of a second behind the 5. Thompson has had to move off the wall once he got behind the 11 in the dirty air. He just wasn't making up quite as much ground as he was when he was running the wall before that. You can definitely tell the 5 is a little bit quicker than the 11, just can't pass him on the bottom of the racetrack, and Carson Hocevar is going to close in on the battle for second again. And because of another failed pass attempt on the bottom by Thompson, Carson Hocevar is going to take over third. He will clear the 5 and pull to the inside of the 11 for second, but Hocevar gets loose off of turn 4, almost gets into the 5 truck. What a battle for second. But Thompson had to lift on the front stretch after almost getting crowded into the wall by the 11 of Corey Heim, who made a late block, and because of all the commotion going on between the 2nd through 4th place trucks, Ben Rhodes is out to a 1.5 second lead and set sail if this thing stays green to the finish. Rhodes was about 3 tenths quicker than Corey Heim that last lap. This is exactly what he needed to widen out this lead, was this epic battle for second going on behind him, and it is an epic battle at that. 3 laps to go. Hocevar cleared Thompson off turn 4, but Thompson crossed him back over in the front stretch, so Dean is back up to 3rd place, looking for his best career finish in the Truck Series, and his second top 5 of the season. Hocevar with a better run off turn 2. It looked like the 5 truck got a little bit loose, and they'll be side by side for 3rd into turn 3. Hocevar with the slide job on the bottom of the track will clear the 5, but doesn't pull up very quick. By the exit of the corner as he pulls up, Thompson's going to have a run on him, but there's going to be a lap truck down on the bottom, which Hocevar is going to be able to stay in front of Thompson as a result. Big run for both trucks. Hocevar battling Corey Heim into the corner. Ben Rhodes driving away. He's a half a lap away from getting the white flag. If he can get the white flag, the next flag will end the race, whether it's a caution or the checker. He's got a 2-second lead over Corey Heim. Hocevar did make a pass through turns 1 and 2 on Thompson and stayed in front of him that time. No crossover move made by Dean. And the 3-truck battle for second continues on the white flag lap. 1 lap to go, sponsored by Credit One Bank. 2 seconds ahead is Ben Rhodes right now as he rounds through turns 1 and 2. It'll be his first win of the season. It'll be the first win for Thor Sport Racing as an organization since moving back to Ford in 2023. This will lock himself into the playoffs. He'll be the 6th different truck regular and the 9th different driver to win a truck race in the first 11 this season. Checkered flag in the air. Ben Rhodes is going to win at Charlotte. Thompson by inches just beat Carson Hocevar for 3rd, passing him through 3 and 4 on the final lap. Corey Heim will finish in 2nd. Again, Thompson 3rd, Hocevar 4th, and then Grant Enfinger will round out the top 5. Christian Eckes will finish 6th, Ty Majeski 7th, Matt DiBenedetto 8th, Nick Sanchez 9th, and Taylor Gray will round out the top 10 tonight at Charlotte. Roger Cruth finishes 11th, David Gilliland 12th, Matt Crafton 13th, Bailey Curry 14th, and Jake Garcia will finish 15th, Chase Purdy 16th, Lawless Allen 17th, Jack Wood 18th, 19th, Daniel Dye, and Colby Howard will finish 20th. Brett Holmes 21st, Stuart Friesen 22nd, Zane Smith 23rd, Tyler Hill 24th, Mason Maggio 25th, Ryan Vargas 26th, Tanner Gray 27th. Tyler Ankrum 28th, Josh Ream 29th, and Matt Mills will finish 30th. Spencer Boyd 31st, Chris Wright 32nd, 33rd, Haley Deegan, Justin Carroll 34th, Armani Williams 35th, and Keith McGee will round out the 36 truck field tonight. 5 different drivers led a lap. Corey Heim leads the most laps with 49 laps led, your race winner. Ben Rhodes leads the third most laps with 37 laps led. Carson Hocevar led 43 tonight, the second most. Corey Heim won stage 1, Carson Hocevar won stage 2, but Ben Rhodes wins the most important stage tonight. And here he is in the winner's circle.
11 races this year, 9 different winners.
I love that stat, Adam. You can say that. It's music to my ears. That means when they crank these engines for a truck race, you have no idea who's going to win.
And this is the second win for ThorSport. Joey Logano got it done.
Oh, that's right. I forgot Logano won for him. First truck regular to win for ThorSport this season.
Oh, he's going to give the flag to the baby. That's beautiful.
I'm going to give it to him. So you keep this. A nice souvenir on what's a real special race weekend here at Charlotte.
Look how happy Mom is. Special for that little girl, too. Special for this guy.
He's fired up, Amanda.
And then for the first time here at Charlotte, a Ford has now taken victory. Ben, you started 19th today. You almost had a 2-second lead there at the end. How did you allow this truck to come to you today?
I don't really know, to be honest with you. I don't know. I didn't think we were that good in practice and didn't qualify the best. And here it came to life at night. Thank you to all the fans that came out tonight. It's awesome to see you here on Memorial Day weekend. Thank you to all our armed forces, our service members. Campers and RV. They've been with us this year, came on board, and I'd love nothing more to get them in victory lane. Oh man, I had so much fun. This is so much fun. You know, Charlotte is a track that we come to, ThorSport Racing. We're based in Sandusky, Ohio. We come to the North Carolina guy's house, and we like to win it.
Well, the fans are about to learn that you are now $50,000 richer, as well as the first winner of the Triple Truck Challenge. You are also secured into this championship. Which sounds better?
I'll take the championship right now. You know what? The whole season is so hard to put together. It's unbelievably hard, and it's only gotten more difficult over the years. I started running this series in 2016, and I'll tell you, I feel like I keep getting better in every year, and so does the competition. And the harder I try, the harder it is to win a race. So a championship being locked in, I'll take that. The last 3 races have been so unbelievably hard on my team. We've been wrecked in the last 3 and haven't had very good showings because of it. We dropped in points from 2nd all the way down to like 6th. So I'll take the points. Thank you.
Your 9th different winner, Ben Rhodes. Congratulations. For Corey Heim, he led the most laps tonight with 49, and after the checkered flag, your crew chief Scott Zipadelli got on the radio. He said, man, don't be disappointed. It was a good night. What emotion are you feeling?
Yeah, I think, me and the 42 and the 5 were probably the best trucks. I think, the 99 just came along really strong, and once we got to second on that restart when the 42 it got put in the middle there, I really thought we had a shot at it, but just proves that, clean air is king here, and I feel like if I did a better job of getting by him as soon as possible rather than kind of waiting on a run, we might have had a better opportunity, but just super proud of Tricon Garage. Just really Tucker GRD Pro was great today. The organization, everyone was fast today, so that's all really good things. I feel like got a little bit to look forward to, in the future, just to kind of get better in the long runs. But, just hats off to everyone at Toyota Racing, Tricon Garage. Really, Chuck looked good under the lights tonight.
Thank you, Corey. Adam?
Ben Rhodes, the winner.
So that was Ben Rhodes, your race winner, then followed by Corey Heim, who ends up finishing in second place tonight. All 200 miles and 134 laps were completed under regulation time. 1 hour, 43 minutes, and 10 seconds was the total elapsed time from the drop of the green flag to the checkered flag tonight. 116.8 miles per hour was the average race speed. And again, we had 5 different drivers that led a lap, and we had a grand total of 13 lead changes with those 5 different leaders. The last of which coming with about 25 laps to go when Ben Rhodes took the lead from Carson Hosevar on the last restart of the race. We had 5 cautions tonight, 3 for incident, and then the 2 stage breaks. All 3 cautions for incident did come in the final stage, in between about 57 laps to go in the race and 27 laps to go in the race. So thanks for everybody tuning in here tonight. This was our first of 4 live commentary live streams on the weekend for the NASCAR season. For the NASCAR race weekend, and not just NASCAR. Again, I will be doing live commentary for the Indianapolis 500 on Sunday as well for IndyCar, so that'll be my first ever IndyCar live commentary stream, but have to do it. It's the biggest race of the year, and why not try to pull off the Indy and 600 double with the commentary side of things, trying to do both. I don't think anybody has ever done I don't think anybody ever has done commentary for both races in the same day in NASCAR history, NASCAR racing history. So maybe I'm going to be the first to do it, even though it's on YouTube. I may be the first to do it, who knows. But thanks everybody. I will see you guys for tomorrow's stream. The Xfinity Series race at Charlotte will start at noon Eastern Standard Time. So a very early start time tomorrow, again, noon Eastern Standard Time for the Xfinity Series race. That's when we go live, and the drop of the green flag will be shortly thereafter. Again, Indy 500, we will go live at 12:30 Eastern Standard Time on Sunday, and then the Coke 600 live commentary stream will start at a crisp 5:30 Eastern Standard Time, obviously depending on what time the Indy 500 also gets done. But yeah, thanks for everybody tuning in. Jesse Smith, thanks for tuning in there right at the end, and Steve Reed, welcome as well. Thanks for everybody tuning in tonight. Appreciate it as always. We're at 86 likes on the stream. Excuse me. I'm surprised we didn't get to 100 today. Be sure to like if you guys haven't done so already. We didn't quite get to our goal. We were on pace for most of the stream. I don't know. We didn't top out at it. We had well over 100 people watching, so definitely hit the like button if you haven't done so yet. And I will see you guys tomorrow afternoon for the Xfinity race. Thanks, everybody. Have a good rest of your night.